The men, what they doing? You might not be doing it physically, but we're doing it emotionally. You've been protecting yourself since 7. And what I'm telling you is pride may have served you in a season to survive, but it's no longer serving you. If you are going to be the type of man that God has called us to be, and we're going to be the ones to deal with our damage first, you have to kill pride in your life. So stop telling lies. Let us tell our neighbors the truth. This is what the scripture says. Not God. He already know it. No, God know my heart. Yes. But your brother doesn't. I don't know. I already talked to God about it. Now you need to talk to your wife. He'll give you the words to say. He'll give you the desire and the power to do what pleases him. But many times we're not doing what we need to do because we think it stops with God. But healing always happens person to person. That's why James tells us to confess our sins one to another. Pray for each other, and that's when healing actually comes. So most of us, especially as men, we've confessed it to God, but we still haven't experienced healing because we have not confessed it to anybody else. This is why many of us need therapy. This is why all of us need community. You need a small group that you can walk in and say, my wife on my last nerve, bro. I mean, the smell of the wig is getting on my nerves. I'm talking about she leaned over to kiss me and I was like, ew. You can't say that to her because the truth of the matter, there's some emotions in there, there's some frustrations in there, but who can you say? How can you get it out of you? And don't sin by letting anger control. Did I just describe most men? We know one emotion. It's the one we go to faster than any other one. It really is a cover-up for what we're really feeling. When we feel rejected, we're angry. When we feel disrespected, we're angry. It's the easy one to go to. And we have torn our children and our wives and our brothers down with the one emotion of anger. And the Bible's addressing it right here. Don't sin by letting anger control you. It doesn't mean you can't have it, but if it's controlling you, if it makes you do something after it that doesn't go to God, if it makes you damage something or somebody, some of y'all got more holes in your wall. For anger gives a foothold to the devil. When you don't mend, you leave room for the devil to come in. I know I'm about to do something dumb, bro. I know I'm about to do something dumb. She got one more time to say something to me, and I promise you Who you really angry at? Nothing's happening for me. Man, I've been working this whack job, delivering these whack packages to all these whack people. I got this great idea. Why won't God let this off the ground? Who you angry at? Because when you're angry, you open the door. It's a foothold. You know when a door is closing? And then somebody says, see, there's something about having access when you're in doors that have something precious behind them. The only place where somebody unauthorized can get in is when you're not watching when the door is closing. So many times you in your heart, because that's why the Bible says guard your heart above all else, because out of that place flows the issues of life. And because anger is in there, it's like the devil just putting his foot in the door. He ain't even got to come in right now. He just got access. Yeah, I'm gonna wait till about 1:30 after Love and Hip Hop goes off. And you still angry, huh? Your wife's sitting right next to you. And I'm gonna allow you get on social media and go into vanish mode. So somebody that DM'd you 6 weeks ago and you've been saving that DM, you just open it up to look. Foothold. And you just text them something like, what you been up to? Stressed, trying to figure out how to relieve some pain. And many times we're leaving the door open to the enemy because we have not dealt with the damage, the anger, the isolation, the hurt that's on the inside of us. God's idea of men does not work with culture's idea of man. Man up, tough it out. Shut up before I give you something to cry about. Stop being a punk. Your son is hurting. You're teaching him at 5 years old to ignore his emotions. Stop being a little punk. Your sister could have took that. His father's not in the home and you're giving him identity that goes against the word of a God. Jesus experienced every emotion. Jesus was allowed to feel that, but you won't let your son feel it because of the embarrassment it might cause you because of the deficiencies you haven't dealt with. No, I'm just saying, like, you can't raise no punk. Okay. So when he stops feeling and it turns into anger and rage, I don't know what to do with him. I just can't control him. You trained him. Every child is programmed. That's why the Bible says train a child in the way they should go. So when they get older, they won't depart from it. The problem is we're getting the generation we're getting right now because we trained them that way. Your kids are a product of your parenting. You can't parent without proximity. I know y'all don't want church people to say this. You want me to tell you, your breakthrough's on the way. Doesn't matter if you get money if you don't have a relationship with the seed you brought into this earth. It doesn't matter. And you've stopped trying because of the baby mama. You slept with her. That child had nothing to do. And now you've given up because she's difficult. You were cheating on her. You act like you was not creeping with her friends. You did it. And now you mad because she feels rejected again because the man who was supposed to give her identity in the beginning wasn't there. So the first two times she was supposed to experience love, she ran into a father that was absent and a man who had not been taught to mend. What I'm saying is, just because it's not working, you don't get to stop trying. There's too much at stake. The only reason you go after mending a relationship is because there may be use for it again. These disciples weren't mending the nets to then throw them away. They were mending the nets in preparation for what was to come next. I keep telling young leaders all the time, you better value the relationships you're around. Even when you leave companies and exit stuff, be careful how you leave places and what you say, because this world is widow. And the very person you think you escaping from, God has a way of 2 or 3 years later, that being the very person you need. Every man is supposed to help other men repair their relationship between God and others. We don't do this at all. All we worried about, I'm right with God, I'm right with my foe and no more. But what did he tell the disciples? I'm gonna make you fishers of men. You're supposed to be the lead disciple maker in your house. Where's the church? Does the church have discipleship? Yes, you. Because this takes the responsibility off of everybody else. What scriptures can you give your sons? What scriptures come out of your heart? When you're ready to fight somebody, cuss somebody out, make a move, what things come out of you? You're the lead discipler of your household, even if you don't have a family yet. Your decisions today create your patterns of tomorrow. And if you would decide to be a disciple today, when your children come into the world, you then have the ability to love them, raise them, and give them out of your overflow. 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name, I want to focus on 2 words, will humble themselves. Everything that comes after that, everybody maximizes on the next parts. That they would pray and seek my face. You can't do that without humility. What are you saying, Pastor Mike? I'm asking every man in this place to become men who mend. How do we do that? We stop walking in pride and we humble ourselves. Humble, because there's only 2 ways of humility. You humble yourself or you be humble. And many men, the saddest truth is many men do not humble themselves until they are forced to. You lost everything. Now, God, I'm coming to you. Acknowledge God. Listen to me, listen to me, listen to me. Because I wanted every man could go home, and every woman. You're a man with a womb. So this whole message applies to you, but I needed to be very specific to the men of God. But this is for everybody. Everything I said, go back and apply it to yourself. How do we walk in this? Acknowledge God in everything. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. And this is going to help men. Don't lean to your own understanding. It ain't that good. I mean, I know I be not thinking stuff just between me, my wife, and my kids. So thinking about my whole life, God said, don't even worry, bro. Your understanding, you don't even have to be good. In all your ways, do this one thing. Acknowledge him. And he will make your path straight.
going on, family? How you doing? Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. M. White, Trev Smooth, Chase Yancey, Clap Jones, Casey, Dr. Lady O. Restart with Kiki, Boheme, True, me, myself, Lapeef J.R. Welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. What's going on, family? What's going on? How y'all doing?
Good, just tired. Came back from that water park and they, but good.
Came back from the water park, okay. Don't tell me you was on the slides.
And you know this, man. We was getting it in. I ain't gonna hold you.
Okay. What state this in?
Wisconsin. It's one in Wisconsin.
Oh,
Great Wolf Lodge.
It's an indoor water park then.
Indoor, yeah. We stayed there.
Okay. Trev said it's too cold for that already. Yeah, the weather's definitely cooling down at nights, man. Much quicker. It's good to see you guys, man. Welcome. I'm glad you guys are in attendance. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. What's going on? Christopher, Di Simone, Angie Williams, Edward Gilbert, Clap Jones in the chat, Fishing a Fit. Always in early attendance. If you catch us on the replay, hit the like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Shout out to the sponsor, Anson Belt and Company. That link is in the description. These are belts. Excellent gifts for husbands. So if you do have some husbands on the panel, make sure you guys go ahead and cop them a belt. And the belt buckles are interchangeable. Works excellent in airports. And there's some good quality belts. They got some trick belts too. But we'll talk about that later.
I got a new slogan for them.
Okay.
Belt to ass with superior class. What you think of that? BTA with superior class. No? All right.
It's screaming abuse, Marcus. It's screaming abuse.
It's all good. It's all good, man. You try. Nice attempt. Lady O, what's going on, man?
I'm doing good. How's everyone doing?
Doing good. You make sure you stay off that melatonin tonight, all right? Come on.
I know, right?
I mean, the way you do it is just diabolical, man. But people on panels, they might say, look at her just being disingenuous. That's their favorite word, right? Okay. True got the flight suit on. What's going on, bro? Old school, showing that age a little bit, huh?
I'm trying to be young. I don't know if I'm successful at it, but I'll be 40 next month. I don't know. I don't know if that's. I don't feel a day older than 25, if that matters. So.
Okay. You a Scorpio?
No, Libra, actually.
Okay. Well, I don't do signs. I just know my month. That's it, man.
But it makes sense you're a Libra.
Oh, it makes sense.
Makes sense. All you follow the signs. Okay.
I mean, he kind of like balanced. He don't really be extreme on no side. He kind of trying to listen. Like, all right, I can see that. I can see it. You don't catch True fighting with nobody really. True be chilling.
True don't care. Okay. He just like my brother. He do not care. He is not finna argue with you. He not finna fool around with all of this stuff. Don't bring no drama. My brother is the same exact way.
That's Libra shit. That's a lot of Libras. I'm a Libra too. My birthday in the 27th.
You have to tell him White is spiritual, okay?
No.
Okay. Let me find out you're one of them healers, okay? Anyhow, let's go to get this show started, man. I had to get y'all warmed up a little bit. Casey, congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, you guys just be styling and profiling, even throughout the whole pregnancy, man. The photo shoots just don't stop. I've never had one photo shoot, period, but you had at least about 5 or 6 since I know.
Come on now. The way you dress, you haven't had one photo shoot? I don't believe that.
Nah. Well, I'm the shooter, so.
You should. You always behind the camera, that's why.
Yeah. That's how I do.
Broski, hey Marcus.
Yeah. It's good to see you, Yancey.
Always love you.
You know, you are super famous, so it's an honor to have you here.
Oh goodness. Very nice to be here.
Okay. So you still got that old school mic, huh?
I do.
Okay. Hey. if it's working, hey.
I was saying, if it ain't broke.
Yeah, it's just like the transmission fluid. You ain't changing that. Might as well not change it. I've been doing just fine. Yeah. Trev Smooth a savage, I see.
Today, this I haven't worn this joint in about 2 years. But huh?
I thought it might have been that re-attire.
Oh, no. This
is Savage Fenty.
No,
Savage
Fenty. No. That's the shirt I had my first viral video in. I just felt like bringing it out today.
Okay, you gonna flex on this first viral video. Okay. One of these days I'll go viral, man. I'm gonna write a script.
Your ass been viral.
No, I'm gonna see if I can go
We're not
viral.
gonna say why, but
no,
you know.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, thank you guys for tuning in. We got a special show here for you guys. It's always a lot of conversations surrounding the internet about men and leadership. So this is why this particular topic, which was sent to me, kind of caught my attention. I thought that we can unpack some of the rhetoric that was spoken by Mike Todd. You know, I know some people may not be fans of him, but this was years ago. I heard he's on a rampage right now when it comes to reinventing himself, but I haven't watched him lately, but this one did catch my attention. So men, leaders, and White has also spoke on this on panels and said that men are the pioneers in order to get us in order, because we are dysfunctional, man, especially within our community. Well, I won't say that because I could tell Mark is looking at me funny. He's pro-black, so I got to watch what I say around him.
I was gonna say I do believe men is the pioneers, and it's all falling us. I ain't make a distinction that we suffer in our community is somehow worse than others. That ain't my position.
Okay, well, I've heard some other opinions about our community, and they say that we're dysfunctional. So I know M. White didn't say it, but nevertheless, let's go ahead and unpack it. Let's see if we can tie this in to try to figure out and shed some light, and maybe we might come up with some solutions. So maybe we might be able to identify some problems. I can't promise y'all that we're going to do either, but we're going to have a great discussion nevertheless. Okay, cool. So I'm going to go ahead and run this clip. We're going to go ahead and react to it. Let's get into it. Here we go.
Greek word that means mending their nets. It means that the men that God chose in the very beginning were men that knew how to fix things after damage. Were men that knew how to prepare, fortify things before damage. And men who knew how to restore, bring back to original form. Is that how you would describe the men in your life? She said, no. And this is not a message to bring anybody down. This is a message to set the bar. This is a message to bring everybody up, to understand that until men of God get into their right place and mend the nets, mend the relationships, mend the breaches, mend the brokenness, we will always have things that slip through what should have been caught by us. We have children slipping through our nets. We have resources slipping through our nets. We have confidence slipping through our nets. We may live in the most insecure men generation ever. You look at men, they're not confident in anything they do. What do? You know, I'm really between. No, what? Say it with your chest. You may clean up. I'm a bathroom technician. Say it with something in you. It's not where I'm gonna be forever, but this is where I am right now, and I'm not ashamed of the process. Okay. Please do not let social media and people's opinion make you ashamed of the process God has you in. David's first time to the palace was as a servant. He was Spotify for King Saul. I want you to think, play this tune. All he did, that was his first time to the palace, but the place he would rule in was the place he had to serve first. And we have so many people ashamed of the process God has them in. And because of that, we have not been taught to mend nets. Now, when I started to research this, mending the nets was something that was passed down from generation to generation. That means if your father was not there, you did not learn how to mend nets properly. And the truth of the matter is, we live in the most fatherless generation in history, where men can sow their seed but not raise the tree. And then they're ashamed of the fruit it produces. But the problem is we will not learn this skill, this very intricate. You can't mend without intimacy. You have to put your hands on something. You have to be gentle with it. You have to be delicate to mend. And men have been demasculated and taught that being delicate is weak. Being careful with our word choice. You better shut the hell up. Oh, y'all already know. You told your kids that yesterday. You feel like because you're an adult, you the man, I shouldn't have to explain myself to you. No. They may need to learn how when they're frustrated, they can mend a relationship without going off on somebody. But you didn't see it, so you can't teach it. But this word, mending nets, means to, everybody say repair, fix after damage. Everybody say prepare. That's fortify before damage and then restore. Bring back to original form. When I started to look at the men that Jesus chose to carry the gospel, like think about this. He only chose a few men, and all the men he chose in the beginning were menders. Which tells me a common practice for men before the modern era of technology was mending. There was no geek squad. There was no tech support or net support. There was no place you could go take your net. It was a common practice for men to know how to put things back together. Not just use things, not just break things, not just make things, but mend things.
All right, let's go ahead and get into it, man. He said a lot there, but he said men is out of one and need to mend. What are you guys' thoughts about it? Start with you first, Clout.
He did say a lot. I tried to piece together like what he was saying. I guess I could agree that men, do have the power to mend things. But I don't know. A lot of it threw me off because it seemed like the type of man he was talking about was like a very stereotypical, specific type of guy. So he lost me a lot throughout what he was saying. I wasn't really sure how to apply it. He said something about, I also wanted to challenge one idea. I wrote it down. He said something about men can sow the seed without raising the tree. And I think that's true. But to me, this rhetoric kind of just sounds like the typical use the man's position of leadership to blame men for everything. And it's like, is it that men can sow the seed without raising the tree? Or is it that we live at a time where women are no longer stoned for having multiple men or for having men that aren't their husband? Because it's like, is there no onus on the women? I mean, it's their body. You know what I mean? It's like, it's a woman's choice what she does with her body. But somehow even that issue, he's somehow made a man's responsibility. In a world where we know that that's a woman's responsibility, what she does with her body, who she chooses to lay with, who she chooses to impregnate her. So it just seems like, to a degree, he's pandering to the female, demographic. But it also just seemed like his message is just like all over the place. Like I wasn't really able to grasp onto really a solid direction or idea that he was trying to convey. It just seemed like a lot of emotional kind of theatrical speech with no concrete, clear point. And I'll end there.
Go ahead, Bo. I see you shaking your head. What you thinking?
So, it's really as simple as men are not being whole humans. Like if you hear what he's saying, you all have no emotions other than anger. You all are afraid to be sensitive, delicate, as he said. And it's okay. Like, it's okay that men have a point of weakness. It's okay that you show that point of weakness. It doesn't garner less respect for you. He's really just pointing out the fact that you all are not whole humans. And you cannot, if you are not having a full human experience as a man, if you are not allowed to be a full person, you can't lead from there. And that is true. Like, we see it actively as women, that men are having a hard time leading. It's a dictatorship because of the lack of connection to humanity that men have, because you all are not connected to your whole humanity. You're not allowed to be whole human beings with a full range of feelings. And you all are not leading correctly. You think that you need to humble women and beat them into submission, when the only thing it takes is you being an actual person and treating that woman like an actual person. That's the only way you can, that's the only position you can lead from. You all look at the Bible, and the only thing you get from the Bible is a hierarchy, but you don't get anything else from there. Like, I don't hear men talk about anything else. The man that talks about hierarchy before he talks about being empathetic and loving all people, because if you are a follower of Jesus, if you are a follower of Christ, Christ's whole message is love. And if the first thing out of your mouth when you're talking about the Bible as it pertains to relationships, be it romantic or otherwise, is hierarchy, you've already lost me. So I think that you might need to listen more objectively and not with like your man feelings. This perspective that comes from respect is the most important thing in the world. We need to listen from a softer perspective. We need to listen from a whole human perspective first, because you're not using those ears. You're using your respect the man ears. That's what I think.
All right, we'll go ahead and let Cloud respond, and then let's go ahead and get
yeah, I just found a lot of what you just said interesting. I wrote down some of it. I'm gonna just try to respond to it point by point. But you said this idea that men have no emotions other than anger, which I don't know. I find that disappointing that that's how you view men. It's unfortunate that that's her perspective, and also the perspective of the guy in the video, that, you know, men don't have emotions, because I don't think the issue is that men don't have emotions and we only express anger. I think that society responds to our anger. Society does not respond to our tears. It doesn't respond to our smiles. It doesn't respond to our sadness. It doesn't respond to our depression. But what society will absolutely respond to is a man's anger. What a woman will absolutely respond to is an angry man. So this entire idea that we don't have these emotions is just like, to me, that's more painting men as exactly what Bo said. You know, society loves to paint men as though we're not human, and therefore we don't deserve to for our emotions to be respected in the same way. So now here's another thing she said. She said, men are not whole humans. What? Like what is that? Like, imagine if I said women weren't whole humans. Like, what does that even mean? Like, she said we have no emotions other than anger. We're not whole humans, and men are having a hard time leading because they lack connection to humanity. Now, that's kind of just insulting. It's just like, just because maybe you feel like men don't have a connection to humanity, that doesn't mean that we don't have a connection to humanity. And if we didn't have a connection to humanity, it would be precisely because of people like you. People like you who view us as less than human and view us as not human are the exact reason why our connection with humanity would be severed. And therefore we would have difficulty with leadership, because those who would need to lead us, I mean, those who would need to follow us and follow our leadership, don't see us as human beings. They don't respect us as people. They think that we're not human and that we don't have a whole human experience. So when we do lead and we do offer our advice and we do offer our direction, it's rejected because the belief is that it's coming from a lesser being. So it can't be valuable, right? But if we were to be seen as whole humans, maybe it would be easier for men to lead, because people would be saying, oh, wow, these men have experiences, they have emotions, and these thoughts and ideas that they're coming with are coming from a real place. But if you don't see us as human and you see us as, then you don't see us as an equal, then you can't possibly see us as a leader. You know, that's being less than. Then this other comment about how men only talk about hierarchy and not empathy and feelings. I mean, I think that's just completely subjective. Maybe that's what you focused on, but I've heard all type. I mean, that guy was a man. He was literally a man, and he was speaking about empathy. So to say that men don't speak on that, like the video contradicts that, because that's a man speaking on empathy. There are plenty of men that speak on empathy and feelings, and loving all people, and there are plenty of men that speak on hierarchy. There's a multitude of topics that especially religious men speak on. So to say that all they talk about is hierarchy, it's kind of ridiculous. But then also it's more ridiculous because you expect them to be leaders and expect them to take a leadership role, but then don't want to discuss the hierarchy. But how can we establish their leadership without hierarchy? There has to be someone who's taking the leadership role and someone who's taking the follower role. So it's like this flip-flop. It's like we're saying we want men to be leaders and responsible, but to be a leader and be responsible, you have to have a level of authority and control. But we don't respect men enough to give them that level of authority and control. We don't think they're human. We don't think they have the emotional capability to do it. So we want them to lead, but just not in the ways that they would lead. We want them to lead in ways that are palatable to women. We want them to lead in ways that we want them to lead, which is essentially saying you don't want them to lead. You want to lead, and you want them to be the scapegoat. I'll end there.
Go ahead, Marcus.
Okay. Both of you have some very interesting perspectives, and I can see where you're pulling them from. I think what Bo was saying, from what I heard, she was trying to describe, because I've heard this argument, maybe it's not exactly the same, but that I've heard some women say that the patriarchy robs men of full humanity, meaning that you can't express all the emotions, and the only one that we're allowed to express is anger. And by only expressing anger, the parts of us that are caring, nurturing, empathetic, sympathetic, those things are suppressed. So we can't fully expose them because we'll be deemed to be weak. And in order to be in a leadership position, we would have to embrace all of those things and lead from that position. Now, while I do think there is some merit to that, also we can't fully, when you're in a position of authority, you don't have the same free range as other people have, right? You can't fraternize with employees the same way that they can with each other, because your words hold more damage. You can't be as critical as somebody, because it means, you have to temper your instructions so you can ensure that it gets done, because you're not looked at exactly the same. So anything you say is going to come from a perspective of you speaking down to that person, and understanding that can allow you to communicate in the most effective sense. I think that the guy that was speaking, I pretty much agree with most of what he was saying, in the realm of this all falls back on us as men. And as long as we operating within like the divinity or the purpose of being a man from a semi-servant leadership perspective, everything will work its way out. I do agree with that. There's some nuances within that we would differ on, but that's primarily my thought process on that. But I understand what you were saying too, Cloud. I definitely get how that could come off. You know what I'm saying? I definitely understand.
Yashi, were you trying to say something? Okay, go ahead, True, and then let's go to Kiki.
Yeah, I think Marcus did a good job of summing it up, because I think between Bo and Clout, you guys were talking past each other, even though your points were very, very valid. But from what the preacher was saying, I think he highlighted some very key things in regards to, it's not that men only know how to show anger is that they're typically socialized to do so more easily. It's readily more recognized. It's something that you expect. You don't expect, especially if we're talking about our community, which most of us are a part of the community. But what I like to do is I do like to use other examples, because what you find is when you are if you're in an area where you get a chance to socialize with other demographics, you get to see men operate a lot differently than you would see a typical Black man operate. You don't typically see Middle Easterns, Asians, and then in some cases Caucasian men exemplify a lot of aggression in a way that is we exemplify it. And I think that that's design. A lot of times it's expected for us to communicate through anger, highlighted with us particularly, but the conversations like was said about hierarchy being discussed, that's not typically what men talk about only. Men talk about a multitude of things. And what's interesting is that these spaces, especially around relationships, is men talking about empathy and trauma and things that they absolutely want to see repaired. What I think happens a lot of times is that we've had the voice of the women be the most dominant. And so it causes a clash, because we're not typically ones to communicate how we see things. And if it's typically is offensive, because men typically speak straight, then it becomes discourse. That's what I typically see. Go ahead, Jason.
So I wanted to add this just to give context for people to understand where I'm coming from. I interview men for a living. This is what I do. I want to understand their mindset. And the way my brand came about was a personal need. It was a selfish need. I wanted to understand so I could have the best relationship possible. And it morphed into, as a result, I've talked to lots and lots and lots of men. And what I have seen is that somebody said how you're not taken as seriously, or you're taken more serious. I'm kind of paraphrasing, when you are in the anger role or something like that. I have also been in romantic relationships where it should be a safe space, but I have had multiple men tell me, I don't think it is safe to do this. I don't, not because I didn't create that space, because they themselves did not feel like a man if they, for example, cried. And I've had to educate and say, physically, there are toxins that will leave your body through tears. Now, are we talking about you stubbed your toe and you're in a fetal position crying? No, but let's say you lost custody of a child, you lost a parent. There's things that are warranted that you are going to be experiencing pain, but a lot of people feel uncomfortable. I've noticed that if women are going through something, we can all invite each other over. Hey, everybody have some wine. Let's chop it up and get deep. Guys, when you guys get together, I've said, hey, did you guys discuss what you were going through? Nah, we don't talk about that stuff. We were just playing cards. We were just going out drinking. And so I don't see the majority of men experiencing a range of emotions. And I'm speaking from firsthand experience. A lot of guys, if I ask, what are you feeling? They struggle to even articulate what they're feeling. They know what they're thinking. They know the thoughts. They can give you the facts. I am thinking this, I am thinking that, but they don't know how to tap in and verbalize, I'm feeling ashamed. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling afraid. I'm feeling exposed. I'm feeling vulnerable. They really struggle to really express themselves. And I believe a lot of it comes from rearing, being told, man up. They're not told to talk about your feelings. It's suck it up. And that's why you see a lot of guys using anger, because physically all of this energy is inside of them and that energy needs to come out somewhere. A lot of women, we get it out through communication, and we were taught to express. But I do think there's a little bit of truth in that, where anger feels more powerful. That feels way more powerful than to say, what you did really hurt me. You use my vulnerability against me. You weaponize something I told you in private. It's easier to scream, be like, this is why I don't tell women anything. It's easier to do that than to say, you really made it to where I don't feel like I can talk to you safely anymore.
Well, you said something, Yancy, that I believe you. I don't know you, but I believe that you may be capable of creating that safe space. You may be able to, but a lot of women are not capable of doing so.
I agree.
What you typically will see is that from a young age, a young man is trying to identify what he feels or what he thinks. And what you often see is that he's berated by both mostly women, and this is
Yeah.
relationship starts early, that if he doesn't know how to find the words or articulate them the way she can receive them, clearly she is a lot older. She ridicules that. So she stifles his growth before he even gets to a stage to where he knows what his voice is, what it looks like, how it's echoed, how it's conveyed. And you typically
Yes.
see a lot of man children walking around. So yes, anger may be their default response.
Yeah.
But go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna add this. I don't think, and this is probably gonna sound crazy, but I don't think a lot of women who are not healed understand that you guys are humans. And I don't mean that being silly, like they know you're humans, but a lot of women have this fantasy version of guys. They're so stoic, they're like statues. You can hit them, you can do stuff to them. That's why, there's domestic violence and people kind of laugh it off, or sexual assault. People laugh, oh, you should be glad you got it. They don't necessarily see you guys in your humanity. And it's interesting because I do videos all the time explaining to women what to look for when a man is not treating you right, when he doesn't appreciate you. Those videos, numbers, I'm talking hundreds of thousands, right? Just go viral. But if I say something that is, hey, maybe sometimes you're not stepping up in a way that you should, the most visceral comments, visceral. And I'm looking and going, if this is what you're saying on a public platform, anytime a man says something, oh, you real, what's the word? You sassy, huh? Oh, you must like men. And I'm like, our mouths are what gets us into trouble. So I definitely agree with you that it's kind of like this, vicious cycle. If you put your little toe in the water and it gets snapped off by a crocodile, you're not putting your toe in the water anymore. And so unfortunately, when you get to someone who is a healthy person, you've been taught so much, I can't let my guard down. And so
I was going to say a part of the problem is it seems as though women are actually disgusted by men's humanity. And it seems like whenever they're put in a position to confront men's humanity, they become angry. They become frustrated. They become disgusted. They become turned off. So what position does that really put you in? I mean, you're going to express anger when you're put in a position where the rest of your humanity isn't acknowledged by the opposite sex. I think that's a fair response.
But I think that, and we have to be careful to not generalize. And I say the people who are not healed, who have not done the work, just like I tell the women who are dealing with red flag men, you got to cut them out of your life. If there is a woman that you can't talk to, you can't open up and be vulnerable, and she's not throwing it back in your face the minute you upset her, she should not be allowed access. That is, you can't have a healthy relationship with someone like that.
I think you're right about that, right? Now, what happens if men as a whole are exercising exactly what you said? Is it possible that it ends up looking like the society that we have now? Because think about it. If you're telling me as a man specifically, right, don't talk to women that don't allow me to feel vulnerable. Well, if I really didn't talk to women that don't allow me to feel that way, there'd be a lot of women I couldn't talk to, because the reality is that most women, and I'm not trying to generalize women, I'm really not, but the reality is that the average man will tell you their experience with most women is that most women do not empathize with us. Most women do not, unless there's something, unless we have an intimate connection with that woman, it's very rare that women even are willing to empathize with us. So then what position does that put us in?
It's where it should be. It's kind of like a toddler who's throwing a temper tantrum. If you give them the cookie, they're never going to learn. It takes someone doing without to actually question and say, what's going on? That's why I get a client. I can't find a man. I can't figure it out. And it humbles them. Maybe there's something I'm doing wrong. And that's the number one thing women blurt out during my group sessions. Oh my God, I'm the problem. I have a portion and we talk about 10 things that you can do to make a man go into an emotional turtle shell. And he might even stay loyal to you. He might stay faithful. He will physically be there, provide, but you will never, ever, ever get that precious side of him, because he will always protect himself. And so I teach you before you even go into it. And one of them is never weaponize his vulnerability. Oh, that's why your mom. Don't ever do that. That is a bell you cannot unring. So if it needs to happen, it needs to happen. And the same thing on the other one. I tell women, close your legs. If you're not in a relationship, you're not getting what you need, close your legs. After a while, if men cannot get around wonderful women, they're eventually going to step up. So what needs to happen is that people shut it down. The healthy people shut it down. Let all the toxic people intermingle. And that's going to force them to go at some point, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem, and look in the mirror. But if you keep allowing women who are toxic to get relationships, especially if she's hooking up with celebrities and millionaires, she's going to think I don't have a problem because I get so much attention. Stop thinking with that thing and cut them off and let them know. Because the guys say, I don't want to say anything to her because it blows up and it gets toxic, and they say all these things. But even if you just have to send a message and block, hey, your mouth, I can't deal with it. You're not respectful. And they keep hearing the same thing over and over again. Eventually, they're going to get with the program, or they're going to be single and have a bunch of cats.
I think you're right. Except there's one flaw. Women still get attention from women.
Okay. All right.
Dating women?
Yeah.
Just in general.
No, but I don't understand what you're saying when you're saying getting attention from other women.
Like when not getting attention from men, women can always resort to getting attention from other women. And so it's still so meaning like let's say a woman says I'm a baddie, right? Mm-hmm. And she goes out and she's not getting the attention from men that confirm that she's a baddie. She can still go to the club with her girlfriends, and they're going to give the attention that will confirm to her in her mind that she's a baddie. So she's still going to be posting and thinking in her mind that she's a baddie and I deserve this type of this, that, because I'm a baddie, even though the men aren't confirming it because the women are there confirming it.
But that's short-lived. When she's has an empty bed and she's sleeping alone and all her friends are getting married and she's still single, that baddie energy, that's going to run out. That's going to get old real quick. She's still trying to hit the clubs and in her twerking dress, and everyone else is at home making brownies with their kids and doing, pajama pictures for the holidays. That's going to get old real quick.
All right, y'all, we got to get Kiki in there. Let's get Lady O. Go ahead, Kiki.
And getting old is not going to be real quick. It's not. We're seeing it. We're seeing people wait till they're 30, 35, 40. So I think what's happening is that a lot of people are going through things in their childhood, and it's taking them a long time to recover from it. And so a lot of people in our community aren't getting married as soon as they turn 18 or anything like that. What people are doing is they're waiting until they're older and they're actually ready. And so you do see marriages from people who are older actually lasting a lot better. And it's because people are giving themselves time. Same thing with parenting. I have way better clients who are 40 plus. My younger clients, I can see that not even maturity, but like what they center in their lifestyle is what I look at, right? So when people are younger, their lifestyle is more so about being carefree and trying everything and doing things that they were never allowed to do and experience in their childhood, whereas the older people are more like, I've been there, done that. Okay, let me work on my inner self. Okay, I got some things to work on. Let me go to therapy. Let me heal. Okay, now let me put myself out there. That's kind of what we're seeing. So what's happening in the childhood? Boys and girls are not being raised the same, and there is no focus on family or raising children up to care about the opposite sex. If anything, you're taught to not care. I was taught you shouldn't be thinking about no boy, you shouldn't be looking about no boy, you shouldn't be caring, like, you know what you need to focus on, you have your head in the books, right? That was the fixation, right? And then you get older and you're hearing all people talk about stuff on TikTok about relationships and how a man should be and how a woman should be. And it was just like that everybody's not talking about that in their household. What a man should be, what a woman should be, and who's cooking and who's cleaning. And so what is happening is that children are just watching how mom and dad are behaving, right? And so if you're someone who maybe your dad always cheated on your mom, or maybe your parents were married and then they got a divorce, you're basing your reality of men and women based off of that. So I think what we need to do is really not even decolonize, but we need to reprogram our brain about what does it mean to be human, right? Let's start there. What does it mean to be human? What type of humans do we want to be? What type of families do we want to create? And who do we really want to be community with? That's kind of what we need to recenter. So when I hear, you know, the whole, oh, well, men are supposed to cry and stuff like that, I don't know what y'all are being taught, but I do know that girls are being taught not to care about you guys. Why care about a boy? They're only going to disappoint you. You know, the men cheat on you. That's like kind of what I hear a lot of people telling their kids. There is no expectation for men. So I think with women not having expectation for you guys, that is what's impacting you, you know. And so now, you know, like I heard someone say that men just show their anger and they just talk about that, right? That's all we're told. We're told that you cheat, you know, you get angry, you don't help do nothing, you know. And then if you find a man who does the opposite, you should, you know, bow down and thank him and really praise him, because that's the rarity. So we're taught that good men are very rare, and chances are you're not going to get one. So I land there.
Go ahead, Lady O.
You're muted. Okay. Yes.
I think I missed some of the video because I was on the phone, but I was listening to you all and your comments. So I'm assuming that it's about men feeling comfortable with being open to women or being vulnerable to women. Is that what it is? Basically, is that what the pastor was saying?
That they only express anger. That's the only emotion that is acceptable in society for men to express.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Because when they're weak, I mean, well, we call them weak if they show any parts of vulnerability. But I will say what I heard earlier was true, that we don't really give them that safe space so that they can use that vulnerable side with us, you know, because as soon as we get mad, what do? We do it to our girlfriends. You know, we do the same thing. Girl, you go back spreading all everything that they told you in secret. You doing this, you do the same thing with him. You do it. So they're not gonna feel comfortable with you. You know, we don't even show the men that we can be good friends as women. If you and I are friends and we break off a friendship, what you told me is what you told me. That does not go to anybody else. I have friends who unalived. You don't go tell their business. But when you don't do that with a man, he's not going to trust you. And so all they know is to show that anger side, because that's what you trust the most. You trust that anger side. You don't trust the vulnerable side. Like he can't protect you if you feel like he's vulnerable or cry or something like that. And also it stems back from little boys. When a little boy hurts himself, what do we say? Stop crying. You know, we overlook a little boy's pain. That's unfortunate. And they do carry this also into adulthood as well. So I can agree with some of that, what he's saying.
If I could say this, one of the things that I noticed, Lapeef knows, I'm like, I think in 10 years I've done like 3 shows because the wild, wild west out here with the comments. But I look at the comments, and especially because it's on social media, it's not to somebody's face directly, but people get real wild with the comments. But they're speaking their truth because they know that there really isn't a big repercussion that they're going to have aside from maybe being blocked from a moderator or something like that. But I genuinely wonder if if the majority of men, like the ones commenting, if they actually do love women, not what they can get from a woman, but if they actually love women. And the same thing could be asked of women. When I hear the way they speak disparagingly of men as a whole, I ask sometimes, do they love men or do they just love what they could possibly get? And I think there's so much healing that needs to happen because, I mean, you just scroll, you just look at the comments. I mean, somebody will get like 2 sentences out, and instead of trying to understand what they're saying or, just respectfully, hey, have you thought of it this way? There isn't even a desire to understand and have a respectful conversation. I mean, it's happening live right now. This is a perfect example. And I think this is a microcosm of like a little sampling of what's happening on a larger scale. If men are taking all of their past experiences, I've dealt with women who do this, this, and this, or I grew up with a mom who I saw her cheating with multiple men. Now I think all women are cheaters. A lot of people, like Kiki said, they had experiences as kids that they haven't grown out of. Maybe there was a dad who got played and now he taught his son, oh, you're gonna be the biggest player there is. You're never gonna get hurt. There's some big people, I won't drop their names, who have major platforms, in the alpha male space. And if you go back and hear their origin story, some girl broke their heart. And now there's this protective thing. So I think a lot of people need to get to the root of what their pain is, because they can't love even the right person who came along because they're so hostile out of fear.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Miss Casey. Then we go to Trev.
There's so much being expressed that I agree with from everyone speaking. Great points. I think my brain was kind of going in a different direction because I saw a little bit more of the sermon and his point of putting more on the ownership of men mending the community and relationships with women and within community, within personal relationships. I did agree with most of what I heard from the sermon, but now the conversation that we're having is actually a great one as well. And from the comments, I agree with a lot of people and the different points. Everyone's saying so many points. I'm like trying to keep it together in my head of what I wanted to reply to or expound on. But I will say that overall, recently, I've seen a shift in women really not taking the time to understand men. And I say that from a place of having an extremely close relationship with my father and being the only girl with 3 brothers. I've been surrounded by them my entire life, and I have a sensitivity when it comes to being patient and understanding men. And I think that comes from me also seeing my mother deal with my father and my brothers. And so on these panels, a lot of times, and we are really talking about that, you see women not have the patience for a man's point of view and where they're coming from. I think there is a disconnect in women realizing that men are not women. We are not the same. We're not meant to react to things the same. Just as a woman would take extreme hurt and pain from a man saying, "Why are you always crying all the time? You're so emotional. What's wrong with you?" That statement of breaking down a woman's nature is what we hear on YouTube all the time, would be extremely hurtful to a woman. So the same thing of being so turned off by some men's stoicism and some of their ways of dealing with things that are more painful, it has to be understood of some men's makeup, and I'm saying some and not all, but some things in general that men are characterized to be. Women, as women, we have to do a better job of understanding that and stop trying to change men all the time, right? And who they are and what they're characterizing society to be. It's this back and forth, this ball of men do this, men do that, men do this, men do that. And so if you put that up, you think about that, would you want your mother or your father always complaining to you as a child? And you're like, well, this is who I am. Why can't I just be who I am and you love me and accept me? It's just kind of that relationship of anyone, a friend, a mother, a daughter, a brother, a sister, that constant, huh? Who's talking? That constant back and forth of not accepting men's nature, I think it is where we are now, if that makes sense. And I'll land it there for now. I had a lot of points, but I can't remember.
I agree with that one.
Go ahead, Trev.
I think it all boils down to understanding men, which I think somebody mentioned a little earlier. And Yancey, is that how you pronounce it? All right. I know you. There was all right. I'll address that point at some point. There was something you said that I wanted to address too. Not bad though. But what I'm really want to say is that men, the reason for this type of reaction, and a lot of people mention upbringing and everything else, but not so much. Men would love to lead women in a perfect world, right? That's what most men desire to do. Are we afforded that opportunity? No. We've talked about people's responses as far as like they respond to anger, right? And I associate anger with violence, and typically violence gets the results that people want. Many of the liberties we enjoy today are a result of good old violence. Unfortunately, I know, Cloud, you said people don't respond to our tears, but they do. They call you a bitch. When you express your feelings, they do call you sassy, and you're disrespected. So a lot of this really boils down to, are women trustworthy for us to be able to express our emotions freely? Will those women weaponize it against you? And we know the answer to that in most cases, unfortunately. And how do we even move on from that? How do we develop that trust again? Right? Good faith typically yields bad results. That's the unfortunate truth. When I went out into the dating world initially, I went in as pure as possible, and it didn't work. It really didn't. It only started to work in my favor when I became everything that women complained about. That's when I got the results that I wanted. And, through, I guess, I don't even know, soul searching, whatever, I was somehow able to find a balance in between that I don't think that everyone is going to be able to. Women have to understand how they respond to men. And I don't want to completely, just go ahead and deflect this, because we were supposed to be talking about men, but I think that if women responded better to men's emotions and feelings and actually allowed us to be who we are, then we would have a much better response. But as far as men are concerned, there are some things that we can do to tighten up. And myself and a lot of gentlemen on the panel do our best to do that, right? When we see the young people that we interact with, we pull coats and we make sure that we tell them, listen, this is how you can improve on here. This is how you get this right, the best we can. But I think it's going to take a dual effort for us to ever repair what it is. I'll end it there.
I got a question for the men, if I may. What exactly has something that you've conveyed to a woman been weaponized? And what I mean by that is, what are we giving away that is our truth that can ultimately be turned against you?
Can you be a little more specific?
You mean in a relationship or just in general?
I'm in a relationship. In a relationship, I'm asking. I'm trying to be as direct because when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what would I tell a woman that is honest that I would be afraid to hear back, that would ultimately rock my foundation or throw me off, me personally? So I'm got the men on the panel. I'm trying to think, what could you convey to her that would ultimately, you hearing it back, would make you distrust her in a way?
I can give you an example. Perfect example, age-old question. How do I look in this dress? Do I look fat? Now, you tell the truth. If she looks fat in the dress and you tell the truth, she's likely to get upset, right? That upsetness is reinforcing that your truth is not okay, because there's a triggered reaction that comes with telling the truth. So what that does is that conditions men to say, okay, I can't tell her the truth because if I tell her the truth, I will face negative consequences for it. She's going to give me an attitude, maybe a little silent treatment, maybe she's going to stop sleeping with me, whatever the case is. But subtle things like that, I think, what sets the standard. I think you can use bigger examples. Let's say a guy is sensitive about his mom dying or something. We've seen examples where in the middle of a fight, in the middle of argument, and your dead ass mother, and it's like, that's something that women will do. And then after, I didn't mean to say that. And it's like, but you already said it. It already came out your mouth. You know what I mean? A man will say, hey, these things trigger me. These things make me angry. And women will be like, oh, word, I'm about to do that thing to see how you react. That very thing you told me that triggers you, I'm going to go do it. So a lot of men will say, you know what? I'm not going to tell her what triggers me, because if I don't tell her, she won't use it. She won't know what to use. You know what? I'm not going to tell her the truth about how I feel about how she looks in it, because if I tell her the truth, she's going to react in a negative way. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue to support whatever delusion she's having to get what I want. Because what happens is, if I'm not being satisfied emotionally, right, the very least I can do is get satisfied physically, right, or materialistically. So if I can't get what I want emotionally, I'm going to get what I want elsewhere. And I think that goes to the question of what Yanni asked earlier. She asked if men love women or if they just love what they can get. And I think the answer is that, yes, I think men desperately love women. I think that, but men are frustrated with the fact that it seems as though women don't want masculine love. And so men are settling for sex because it's the only thing that seems to be able to be reciprocated when we give to women, right? Like you give love, you don't necessarily get love back. You give time, you don't necessarily get time back. You give money, you don't necessarily get money back. But the one thing that you can get for at some point, whatever you exchange, is some sex. That's one of the things that you're going to get. That's going to be a great experience for you. So a lot of men will say, you know what? I'll deal with the arguments. I'll deal with all these negative experiences because at least I get to have this experience that I can only experience with a woman,
Can I ask this question? I I hear people saying all the time, like, I want things to be better. And I believe that you can only deal with one person at a time. However, if you look at the statistics when it comes to seeking help, you don't see a lot of men going for self-help. You don't see a lot of men going to therapy. It's actually stigmatized. They'll say, if I can't figure it out, how is a stranger going to figure it out? But the reality is a lot of men are conflict avoidant. For example, a lot of men are, we all have issues, but one of the things you see a lot is conflict avoidant men. They are uncomfortable talking about things. They'd rather say, let's just not talk about it. Let's just change the subject. Let's just go over something else.
With women.
What's that?
With women.
Thank you for
What
clarifying.
gender are the
Yes, no.
therapists?
But
Right? Like, what gender are these therapists you're talking about?
either. There are plenty of male therapists, but I love that True said that because I hate to quote, but somebody famously said that before passing, he said, there is something between men where you guys know where the invisible line is in the sand. I love this quote. He said, you know it. So let's say if Clout and True were in a barbershop, y'all didn't know each other, but you were getting heated. True knows where that line is. Clout knows where that line is. And you know before you say it, I'm about to cross that line. But you also know I'm ready because he knows I crossed the line. And then you guys handle it the way you handle it, hopefully without weapons. With women, unless you're some violent person, the women don't even know the line exists, or if they do know the line exists, they're like a little kid that's like da 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 da, and just tap dancing on the line, and you guys can't do anything about it. And so a lot of men I see get so enraged that you're like, I can't even believe I'm thinking about this. Let me think of something, and you want to walk away. And then she's triggered because she's like, no, let's talk about it. But she's doing things that are triggering and keeping the steam going. And oh my God, I have such a passion for conflict avoidant because that dynamic, because a lot of times I'm gonna get on the women. A lot of times the women don't realize what they're doing. And so it's easier to demonize them and be like, oh, they just can't stand talking about stuff. They are just, narcissists. They're just whatever, they're avoidance. But the reality is they have not created a space in which they can do that. I see a lot of times if a man even brings up something, it turns into her crying, and now he's trying to console her. Like, how did we even get here? I was talking about my issue. So my question I started with is, where do we go for help if you're having a situation with your person? I'm also the men on the panel and the people in the comments, are you guys comfortable going to therapy where there's a safe
We have
space and
friends.
saying, hey,
We have friends. Like this idea that men don't cry, don't express themselves. Like I forget who. Like I think True just said it. It's in front of women. Like I've seen all of my homies cry. They've all expressed. Like I have a friend right now that's going through it with his dad being well. He's expressed very clearly with the right words how he feels about his dad being in the situation he's in. And honestly, he doesn't even need to express that many words, because I could just look by his expression, and because I'm a man, I can see, I can understand what he's going through. I can experience it just by the words he's saying. So it's like this world doesn't exist. Like we kind of don't really need the therapy or the conflict resolution, because we naturally do it. Like I had an argument with a manager and a supervisor today. We were literally had a heated argument. No violence, but the argument was heated about what we had to work on. It's like, no, bro, but it's supposed to be like this. Nah, but we got to do this. Da, 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 da. And we came to a conclusion. Nah, you know what? You're right. Nah, that's dumb. We ain't doing it. All right, bro, you're right. And we solve our problems that way, even if it has to be a
two
fight.
guys though, right?
Between guys.
Right.
But
That's what I'm
when it
saying. But
comes,
with a woman, how do you guys resolve that then? If you're
well,
not
what
going to go
happens
to,
is with a woman, it becomes a little bit difficult, because, all right, let's say I'm talking to True and we're working on a project, and I say, True, I don't think that idea is going to work because of XYZ. True might not like that I said that, but True might go, all right, so what's your idea then? With a woman, though, it might be, I don't think that idea is going to work. It's over. What you mean my idea is not going to work? Da-da-da-da. See, you always think you're right, and that's why da-da-da-da-da. And da-da-da. And it's just like it goes into another place, all because we want to go with another choice, or all because I'm challenging the idea. It's like we resolve conflicts as men so instantaneously that it's not an afterthought to have a conversation or therapy about it, because it's handled in the moment. There's no therapy to have. We hashed it out. I'm gonna see these guys at work tomorrow. There's gonna be no feelings about it because we already talked about it. With women, I feel like therapy is more appealing to women, because after that conversation, you're still gonna have feelings. You know what I mean? And you're still gonna be thinking all type of thoughts. And so it's better to take that to go unload it on somebody. But when I'm stressed out, I call my homies, yo, man, at work, yo, you can't believe these niggas said da-da-da. Yo, this nigga had me stressed out, bro. Yo, I'm telling you, them niggas is clowns. All right, yo, bro, my shorty is bugging. She, yo, I can't believe she did that shit. Yo, bro, I'm telling you, yo, listen, bro, just take a drive real quick, cool out, smoke a blunt, you'll be good. Da-da-da-da. Simple. And our conversations go smooth like that. So I guess because women don't see that, a lot of times they just think it doesn't exist, and we just have no relationships with our male friends. And it's just like, what world do y'all think we living in?
yeah, I didn't think men to men, you guys speak the same language, but I think a lot of people need a translation, because even you describing it, every scenario was the woman is tripping. She's unfounded emotions and she's not getting over it, as opposed to there was something that wasn't resolved. So in that dynamic, yeah, of course, the women can talk to each other and the men can talk to each other because they speak the same language. But when it's coming together, I don't see a lot of people really getting to the heart of the issue, which is why I'm a big advocate for therapy.
Let me get to these super chats and let's get Bo.
You mean like couples therapy?
Casey in there.
Mhm.
Okay.
Marcus Evans $5 says hello to the good people on the panel. Welcome back, Casey. Chris $5. What's that? Genocentric way of expressing emotions is not necessarily the masculine way. I always hear women asking men to express themselves the feminine way. Why me? Became a YouTube member. Welcome and thank you. Why me? New member, $2. No simping, fellas. Bruno with the $2, no, 99-cent super sticker. Why me? $5 says, and this is the reason men should not ever consider new used cars. They're just Oldsmobiles. Shop for the new 00000 readings and create a legacy. I want to thank everybody has contributed.
Listen, all cars become old cars.
Go ahead, Bo, and then get Casey.
So,
never buy. All cars become old.
I dated this guy once, and he was a complete jerk. And listen, I be trying to understand people, but I just couldn't do it. Right? He wanted to work it out. He wanted to, well, let me show you that. I think he was abusive, but that's another story. But so he was waiting. We had gotten to this point. This is down the line. We had gotten to this point where I was afraid of him and how he reacts. And he was afraid of me and how I reacted to his actions, right? No one wanted to make the first move. He wasn't willing to make the first move to make this thing work. And I definitely wasn't, because I didn't like how he treated me. So I kept my distance. I went to him and I said, hey, I think we're at an impasse. Things have become so conflated. No one wants to make the first move. I think we just need to vacate this. Don't even worry about it. I said all that to say, because the point was not necessarily like what happened to get us there. It was when we were there. Men and women are at an impasse. We can blame who did what with who all day long. But who is going to go first? Who is going to be the one to take the first step? Because we're so busy blaming who did what to one another that we can't listen to each other's experiences. I sat up here and said all of the things that I said, and everything that I said was misheard. People tend to hear with their feelings. They don't use their ears and their brain. They use their feelings to hear the words that are being said. And that's what happened when I spoke originally. Feelings were used, not brains and ears. You didn't process what I said. You processed how you felt about what I said. And it took other people to say basically the same thing for you to, I guess, get it. I don't know if you did. But who is going to go first? And I think that is the reason for that message that we heard in the beginning, because men supposedly are the leaders. Who's going to go first? You lead, we follow. But that's just me. So that's why I'm like, I don't think that y'all heard what, like, the things that he was saying. You want to react to the little things instead of taking the big picture. Who is going to fix it first? Who is going to go forward and be the first to do it? Because you're around all of these women that don't care nothing about your feelings, and you still deal with them. That's your fault. Just like us being around these men who treat us like crap and we keep being around them, that's our fault. So you need to pick the one that is going to let you be the whole human that you choose to be, if you choose to be that whole human. If someone is not allowing you to be the person that you need to be, you don't need to be with them. Mm-hmm. Vice versa. Same thing for women. If a man is not allowing you to be the person that you are, if he's not accepting you for who you are, and you stay with him, that's your fault. So who's going to go first? We're pointing fingers and not listening. Because when I say the things, like when I tell you all my experiences, things like what Cloud just did, putting up the tiny violin, happens. You don't want to hear the words that I'm saying because you don't want to understand the experience, so that you can understand where we are, where women are. We're not saying men are like this. We are saying this is how we are experiencing you. And that matters. It should garner some type of reflection. I wonder why this common thing between women comes up. But you don't want to say that. You don't want to think about that. You don't want to take the common message and be like, okay, just like I can take the common message from men and be like, yeah, I be doing that. I got to stop doing that. I can do that. Who's going to go first is my question.
I think, to answer your question, I think that the first step has already been made by men. which is why we have this entire red pill space on the internet, which is why we're even here having these conversations, which is why you see so many women making TikToks about how men are functioning differently than they were. They're not taking them on dates. They're not getting married. How that now they're calling men sassy because men's standards have changed. So I think that is men taking the lead. I think that women just don't necessarily like the lead that men are taking right now. But men are saying, we don't want this anymore. And we're starting to go in a direction now. As you said, men are the leaders and women are the followers. So now it's up to women to say, okay, we're noticing the trend that the men keep going that way. It's either we're going to stay here doing what we think works, or we're going to follow the men. We have men come on these panels every single day of the week and say exactly what they want, what they expect, what direction they want to go into. At the end of the day, it's up to y'all now. We've all said it. Y'all know, we've all told y'all what men like. We've all told y'all what we're interested in.
But if you
It's
lead
either
us
you're
to
going
hell,
to follow or not. Pardon me?
If you lead us to hell, we supposed to follow you there?
Well,
That's what I'm glad you said that, because
I'm glad you said that, right? Because that's an example of you not trusting the leadership, and that's the problem. You're not the leader. So the thing is, because you're not the leader, you don't have the foresight to see where we're going. That's why you're not the leader. But you're so worried about being led to hell that you refuse to follow. So you're just stuck in one place. I'm not talking about you specifically. I'm just saying you in the example of the scenario you gave, right? Like if I'm not going to follow you because I think you're going to lead me to hell, I'm not going to go anywhere because you're the leader.
But what if my experiences has been hell? And I'm sorry, Casey. I'm so sorry.
If your experiences has been hell, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunately, there are going to be some men who are not good leaders. There are going to be some situations that don't work out. But I don't think that means that all men are going to lead you to hell, you know?
Do you think that there's room for men to improve? Because it sounds like
Absolutely.
everything that has been said, it's this monolith of men are doing it the right way. We have it all figured out. It's only a problem when the women come in. Versus I've heard the women
No.
take accountability on this panel saying, yeah, we as a whole do need to work on these things and this does happen. I haven't really heard that taking that
Well,
accountability.
now that you've asked that, I would say absolutely men can improve on a lot of things. I mean, I always say one of the things I've said on a lot of panels is that stop lying. Like, stop telling women things that aren't true. Like, stop telling them you want to be in a relationship when you just want to smash. Stop telling them that you're in love with them just to get the draws. Like, stop lying. Just tell the truth. If you just want to be single, say that. If you want a casual relationship, say that. If you want to be friends with benefits, whatever the case is, just say that. Like, be clear on what direction you're going. That way she can be that way you've now given her the responsibility of what she chooses to follow. And she can never say that you deceived her. So I feel like one of the major issues that men have is a lot of men lead through deception. And that's the problem. Oh, they show off some money they don't really have. And then now the woman's interested in them and expecting this financial backing that they don't have. Don't lead through deception. Be about exactly what you are. Stand on that and communicate that to her and let her choose.
But I think I really like that you guys had that conversation, because sometimes when I hear men speak, it's almost like y'all think y'all all agree. Someone else going?
Okay. Yeah, let's go to Casey and then let's go to you. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I didn't take offense. It was a good conversation, and I just wanted to chime in. I hear us talk about a lot of times saying that if it's not working out, then just move on. If something's not good for you, then just move on. The whole point of his message, you guys, is mending. And if you listen to more of the sermon, he's actually talking about men staying in situations with women and in community to mend what may be broken and need restoration. So that's what has us that's what has us all in this situation now, the individualism, right? If I can't connect with you on this, if this isn't working for me, if it's not right, guess what? The next person is going to have something else that's not going to be right. The next person is going to have something else that's not going to fit perfectly into your puzzle, be the perfect little missing piece of your life that you think you need, right? And so it comes to a point where men, women, community, if you're talking about on a relationship scale or a large community of women and men scale in this YouTube space, it has to be a point where you're like, you take a breath and you're like, I have to sit in this. I like this person. I think this person's good for me. They're not perfect, but I need to stay in this situation with this person because they love me. There's love here. There's something here that can grow. Going back to what Kiki was saying, a lot about our community with men and women and what children are taught and not taught in the home. That is another problem. When people decide to have children, also, he was talking about this in the sermon as well. When people decide to have children, the work has to be done in order to shape their perception of the world, to shape their perception of men and women. And a lot of people touched on that when we first opened up talking about the subject after the video. Right now, I have my daughter's 4, right? We have our 2-year-old. I and my husband, we make our 4-year-old, she cleans up after herself and the 2-year-old. They sit at a table together to eat. She cleans up after him as she sees me clean after my husband, right? Or clean after them and clean after our house. There's things that have to be taught in a mindset of community, of men and women working together, of compassion, of patience, that has to be grown within our homes, that will then start in our homes and then spread out into our communities. One last thing, and I'll land it here. I had some other points, but Cloud was talking about what men and women expect and what they get from each other. I always find it very funny and very hypocritical that women always expect to get father treatment from men that they date. Always. I want a man to treat me like a princess. I want a man to treat me like a queen. You want to be showered and pampered with gifts. You want chivalry, doors open. We want all these things from men as our father would treat us growing up, right? But when a man expects some of the same things that he gets from his mother, women always turn to saying, I'm not his mom. I'm not gonna do that for him. That's not my place. I want a partner. I want this. I want that. So it's a lot of places, a lot of things that we have and conceptions that we have about what relationships should look like. It's really meeting each other's expectations, not and it's not about me. A relationship is about me doing for the other person and that person doing for me. It's mutual. We're both getting something out of it. It shouldn't be one-sided or biased to one person's life and wants and desires and needs. And I'll land it there.
All right, go ahead, True.
Well, Kiki, right?
Go ahead, brother.
Oh, it was Kiki. Yeah, my bad, Kiki. Then True.
He can go.
No, you go ahead.
Casey, I would say the opposite. Break up. Break up because you're not married to that person. I don't believe things are gonna be hard. I believe things are gonna be hard.
I wasn't saying with anybody. Before you go down there, I wasn't just saying
this is why
make
men
it work
can't
with
marry.
anybody.
No, this is my thought. This is my thought before you even said
mended.
it. This was my thought before you even said something. I was about to say the complete opposite. Please break up. I'm so sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Things are gonna be hard. It's hard tying your shoe. It's hard learning math for the first time. It's hard applying yourself for whatever you want to apply yourself for, right? But things should never be difficult. I really just don't see myself, arguing with someone, fighting with someone, begging for someone to do something, right? Like I just don't see that. And
But Kiki, those are all
even with my
negative.
siblings.
Working within a relationship, all the things you just said are very negative things.
Yes.
And that's not what a healthy marriage or a healthy relationship looks like.
Exactly.
Just because it's considered work or considered something that you have to put effort into doesn't mean that it's going to be the most treacherous of experiences that you can think of. So for you to say, if it's hard, I'm going to leave. Well, anything is hard. Women get PhDs every day, right? And that's hard. School is hard. Work is hard. Working 40, 60 hours a week is hard. Raising children is not easy. It's hard. But all those things are worth it. They're well worth it. You get so much from it. So why are all those things good being hard, but working in a relationship with a man, if it's difficult or hard, it's considered disgusting and you're worth more than that and you shouldn't waste your time? It doesn't connect for me.
Right. And that's not my message. My
You gotta
message
let
isn't
her
if
finish,
things are
Lex.
hard. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying, just to let you finish. Go ahead, get your complete thought out.
My message isn't if things are hard, it's if things are difficult. So you notice how you said, well, all those things you talked about, those are the negative things. Exactly. So if a relationship is extremely negative, I can't mentally comprehend why stay. Dating, the whole dating process is survival of the fittest. That is where you're literally eliminating people, right? Everybody not supposed to fit in your puzzle piece, right? It's about finding the puzzle piece that actually fits, right? So when you try to shave it down the sides to make that thing fit, right? That is what's hurting people. Go ahead and break up. You're not married. You're not really committed to each other. You keep trying and you're trying and you're trying and trying. Isn't insanity doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result? Isn't that literally insanity? Right? So why drive yourself crazy? If you have tried, if you have put in the effort, if you have gotten all the resources and it's still not working, break up. Don't use me for my box. Don't stay with me because you can get it. Please leave me. And I heard the brother up there, what's her name? Jones Clout. I heard you say that. I heard you say it was like you said something like well, that's all I can get for you. No,
That's
don't
the
take
simplified
nothing from me.
version
Go ahead
of
and
what I said.
disclude me and say, you know what? I know you not wife material. I know you not my person because my future wife would never. Go ahead and release me so that you can find the woman that's for you, right? And I can do whatever the work it is that I need to do and find the men for me. But that's not what people do. Y'all, people in their head know, this is not the guy I want to be with. This is not the woman I'm going to be with, but I still want to get my thing wet. So I'm going to stick around and use this person, right? Further and damaging him, further and damaging myself, further damaging community and society, right? Instead of trying to do something healthy. So what I'm actually advocating for is healthy relationships. And when things aren't healthy, knowing when to leave and knowing when to stay. And I think we have a hard time with it. And that's why I watch people go through traumatizing things. And it's because you didn't know when to give up and when to stop.
That's fair.
I
That's fair.
can I just quickly, it sounds as though, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but it sounds as though you really do have a negative view of relationship and marriage.
No.
I don't think that's fair.
What, I don't know, like, have you been surrounded by a lot of married couples? Are you married yourself? It seems as though because you started off saying tying a shoe is hard, this and that is hard, this is whatever the other things you said are hard, like a relationship doesn't have to be. And I've heard that said in so many different ways from different people before. It has to be a point where if it's something that you haven't really experienced or you're not in or surrounded by, if you do have a negative view of relationships, long-term relationships or marriage, the negativity will be highlighted over healthy to kind of make your point. Because that's
I think
what
I think she was distinguishing between toxic, if I may try and tell me if I'm wrong, Kiki, a toxic relationship and something that needs repair. Like, for example, I would say a toxic relationship is someone who calls me out of my name, hits me, this and that. Someone else, like, we're struggling to get through disagreements. That's a workable thing.
True. So why was that said? I'm trying to understand, why was it said in response to what I said? Because what I said was only speaking of healthy relationships and marriages and working with people and becoming one in a relationship or a marriage, becoming one in a marriage and building a family is not something that happens overnight. Two people being raised by two different families in two different places are going to have two different ideas, and it does take time and it does take effort to actually become one and be on one accord. I'm not just talking about best friends or homeboys. It's a very deep thing that does take time. And so, yes, there is a difference between toxic and healthy. And I'm definitely not speaking within staying in a toxic relationship. Absolutely not. But in the realm of a lot of people, you said it perfectly at the end, a lot of people cannot decipher the difference between what is healthy and what I should put my effort in and what is toxic and what I should walk away. There's a line, a lot of women pull the plug on situations that are not toxic. And that's just, especially Black women. And we can talk about the divorce rates all day and who pulls the plug on marriage. We can go down that route. It shows that if we get bored, we're done. It's too hard, or this is a slump in our relationship. We've been in together for however many years, and this happened. We're in a valley, but it's been so many mountains. And as women, we'll forget the mountains and focus on that one valley and choose to end a relationship or end a marriage because of a valley, and you've had nothing but mountains in your past. Go ahead.
And I
want to add
sis.
something to that. I want to add something to that.
I wanted to see the people's face. Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that the women on the panel were having this discourse, because this highlights a lot of things in my opinion. I'm gonna ask Kiki a question, then I'm gonna expound upon that. Kiki, when is the last time that you were with a man that you actually asked that man to be with you?
What do you mean when you say ask him? Like ask him to be my boyfriend or something?
Yeah, like you requested for a relationship from him.
Never.
Okay, never.
Okay.
But I have told a man I loved him first.
Okay, fair. So okay, I'm only using you as an example, not picking on you at all. But I think that something as simple as that is why this is such a problematic exchange between the male and the female of today. Because you guys don't understand that it's never your assertion of the relationship. We have a vision of what the relationship looks like. And in most cases, most women are not interested in entering a relationship and constructing the relationship. You guys are naturally built to assist in progressing the relationship. From the moment we meet you and we actually ask you out and even ask you to be our girl or whatever it may be, right? From that premise alone, I don't understand what you were saying in regard to if it doesn't work and don't shave yourself down. I think that a lot of women have this misconception that the way you are is supposed to remain the same. You were supposed to grow. You're supposed to progress. And you're actually supposed to like have a metamorphosis of development. You being the same single, thinking you're going to remain the same in a relationship is foolish. And an unfortunate part is that you guys have been able to live your life in a way that there is no challenge. I often think that there should be some program instituted where women play like sports or something, because the one thing that young men do get growing up, if they do participate in sports, is you lose. And I don't know women to know how to lose and lose with grace. You guys don't lose. You go through the majority of your life getting a lot of reinforcement of what you assume it to be. So when you look at struggles, especially with a man, I think that there is a muscle that has not been exercised. So you constitute, and you can find the extreme of it by saying toxic, and then toxic only is the abuse, or toxic only is the verbal or physical abuse. Not understanding that through, like Casey's saying, meshing two lives is a metamorphosis of growth. It's supposed to be uncomfortable. Like there is, it's just natural in the exchange of things. And if you do any kind of scientific research, you'll often find that when things are meshing, there's a clash. It's like if you look at it under a microscope, there's this magical explosion that happens. It's the same energetic thing when a man and a woman is trying to build something out of nothing, especially if they haven't had an example of it. So I think that a lot of women, unfortunately, miss their blessing, because I would argue that the man that gives you the most pause, in a sense of you actually having a challenge, not abuse, but where he's requesting more of you, or where you're requesting more of what you're willing to give, that probably was the man you needed to be with. And most women avoid that man.
Can I just say,
can I add to that?
When I was responding, I wasn't responding to Casey. I had a point before before you were speaking, and it was responding to Cloud when he was saying that as a man, men don't want to necessarily talk to women about they rather lie, or
I didn't say rather.
Not rather. What did you say, Pete? I want to quote you right.
I was essentially saying that when you get negative reinforcement from telling the truth, it conditions you to lie. So it's like even the truth requires a safe space. Like if you want someone to tell you the truth, you have to create a space for them to be honest with you. If you're going to judge them or treat them a certain way because they told you the truth, that's going to encourage them to lie. So I'm saying, like, a lot of men are omitting the truth or lying because of the fact that when they tell the truth, they're getting this negative reinforcement.
And so for me, and my thought process is, if I can't be my full self with somebody, that is a clear indicator that I shouldn't be with them, right? Especially if you're trying, you put it in the work. It's just like, how many years do you go not being yourself, right? Because if you gotta omit stuff, if you gotta tiptoe and walk like your feet are on eggshells, you are essentially signing yourself up to be uncomfortable, to hold down your feelings. Your thoughts don't matter. That's crazy.
And what
That's
I'm trying to
crazy to me,
explain to
because
you,
you do matter. Your thoughts and feelings do matter. How you feel, they should be considered. You should be able to be honest. I'm not putting up with that. So it's just like,
well,
I see how everybody have a different tolerance level, because me, I'm not going to be uncomfortable.
well,
I'm going to be myself, and I'm going to feel proud to be myself. I want my man to be himself, and I want to be
and
proud of him, like.
and I think you feel that way probably, right? I could be wrong, but a lot of why you might feel that way is because you're a woman, and so you expect to have spaces where you're allowed to express yourself and be yourself. That's an expectation of you, because that's what you're going to get in this world. That's
Or
not an
creative.
expectation. Well, that's not an expectation for us in the world. So we're hoping to get that in our relationship. Like, you get what I'm saying? That's something we want in our relationship. But even in our relationships, a lot of us are not finding that. It's a very rare thing to find. So that's what I'm like. As frustrating as it is, as frustrating as it is for you to imagine it and not be experiencing it, imagine if that was your life experience from day to day. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
And I wanted to add one more thing. And everything True said, I agreed with. And I feel like that reinforces why I think the whole men having the men thing is kind of, it's pandering, because, like, True asked her a question like, how many guys have you asked to be in a relationship? And you said it never happened. And literally all proposals, like 99% of proposals, come from men. So clearly men are trying to mend the community. Clearly men are trying to build marriages. But then when you look at the statistics of who's ending the marriages, it's overwhelmingly women that are ending the marriages, if you look at the numbers. So this idea that men are not mending, it's literally the opposite. It's like men are already trying to do the mending and women are the ones resisting, just based off of the marriage numbers. The men are making all the proposals. How many women have been proposed to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times in their life? There's no shortage of men out here trying to marry women. It's not that there's not. So this
May
idea
I
that
just
men need to do more to mend the community when men are trying, and women are just saying like, no, we don't want to mend with you. We good over here. Like, you can no longer leave that responsibility solely on men when the effort's clearly there.
I would really like for you all to stop bringing up these divorce rates. Just because women file them does not mean that the men have not left the relationship. There are so many. You all do not think about the causes for the filing. The only thing you bring up is the filing. You don't think about what got them there. So when you all bring that up, you're
It's
just
irrelevant.
using that for your talking point. You're not really trying to talk about no.
No, it's not for a
You're
talking point.
not really trying to talk about what causes the divorce. Let's
Well,
not
because
do
we're
that.
not talking about the causes of divorces right now. We're talking about mending the community, right? So what I'm talking about is
So
the
you
numbers.
have to talk about the cause of the divorce then.
Sure. Okay, we can get into that, but let me just explain to you why I brought it up the way I did. Because I wasn't talking about causes of divorces. I was talking about who's trying to mend it and who's getting the divorces, who's initiating the divorces. And if we're talking about who's initiating marriages, it's 99.8% men. So as far as just coming together, the idea of coming together is a man concept. Men propose to women to have these marriages. Men are trying to form these families. Women aren't out.
If I could just finish my point. Thank you. I appreciate you. Now, here's the thing. As far as like getting into marriages, there are a lot of marriages that won't happen if women did not demand that men stop wasting their time and get married. Also, If men would not lead women to hell, a lot of women would not be filing these divorces. There are so many things that happen, and I'm not blaming men. I am not taking the blame away from women at all. What I'm saying is we are not having a full conversation when you're like 99% of people who propose are men and such percentage of people who file for divorce are women. We are not having an honest conversation when you do things like that
Well, you
because
can
we
challenge my
know
It's
that
honest.
some men have to be forced into marriage because they have been wasting women's time.
What percentage of men, Bo, do you believe are forced into marriage by
I
women?
don't know. I'm not playing the
No,
numbers game. I am having a real
because
conversation
I
where
want
numbers
to
don't
hold on.
necessarily.
I want to
No, I
respect
am.
your variable, right? You brought a variable into the equation. I want to respect it. I want to take it seriously. So since you're making the claim that a lot of men are forced into marriages by women, just give a percentage. Just throw out a
I
ballpark figure.
don't know. I am
Oh,
having the conversation about things that happen.
that you don't
You
know
all
about.
like to have conversations about numbers. If you would like
No,
to have a
you're actually having
conversation
conversations about
about
things you don't
numbers,
know about. I'm
if
talking about numbers
you
that can be
if
verified.
you would like to have a conversation about numbers, I think you need to talk to Trev. Trev knows a lot about these numbers. I am talking
Bring up the stats.
about, I am giving context to these statistics that you brought up. You are not having an honest conversation when you do not bring context to these numbers.
Bo, I would love to ask you a question. Do you believe that it is possible
Approximately.
do you believe that it's possible for a woman to be a 10-year girlfriend if she does not subscribe to that?
Agree.
Say that again. I'm sorry. Say it.
Do you think that it is possible for a woman to subscribe to a 10-year relationship as a girlfriend if that is not her idea?
If it's not her idea?
Yes. I'm assuming that this is a woman of healthy mind and healthy conviction, because you said that men are wasting women's time, and I would disagree in mass, because typically what occurs is that if a woman is a wife and she has a pursuit, because we both individually have an idea of what we may want. I've only heard and seen most women have an idea of what they want, whether they're in the relationship or predating the relationship. So the only way I would assume that a woman can arrive at a 10-year or 5-year or 7-year run as only a girlfriend means that she's okay with that.
Well, I wasn't giving a time limit to these. You know what I'm saying? Because some, like, I was only dating this guy for 14 months before I got married. And you know what I'm saying? But also, he was very intentional about the fact that he wanted a wife. I am not talking about those men. I am talking about the men who are not marriage minded, but they want to have these women around them for however long. I am talking
I was
about
always talking about the marriage
men.
minded.
I'm not talking about men who are very intentional about being married.
But I think, okay, so I think we're mixing things, because it started off by saying that women are filing for these reasons. You gave context, and I think that is loaded in itself, because marriage, from what I understand, is intended to,
be forever,
supposed to live out life.
Right.
So this means that
there's no good reasons
that you're going to endure that you may not necessarily like. Now, there are variables. Nobody should sign up and stay on board for abuse and all these things. And in mass, most women statistically are not experienced in DV. They're not experienced.
No, I'm not talking about that.
No, I know. But so we have to explore, if we can, what are the reasons behind women wanting to vacate marriages? Because at one point you signed up for something that you intended to work on.
Neglect.
Yeah. So where does that change because of the conditions of life? I don't understand when people go through crap at work all the time and they don't quit every single time something goes left.
Just because they making money.
But she answered though. She said neglect. She gave the number one thing. And I think this is a perfect, like, we should take this as a real life situation. We talk about mending. Right now, we have an opportunity for a woman to express what she has experienced as a woman and what she has heard her friends experience. We have men who have experienced their own personal experience and then have been in the barbershop and heard the men's experience. We either can combat each other and say, it's not true, you don't know what you're talking about, or we could be curious and ask. So if you looked at the women when they brought up that divorce statistic, I darn near jumped out of my chair and ran around to the church lap, because this is something I'm so passionate about. But nobody was curious as to why. As women who are obsessed with getting married, it is a upgrade society wise. It's a status thing to be. I'm a wife. I'm not just a girl. It is a status thing. Women want to be married. They go to extreme lengths to be married. No woman takes that lightly to have the scarlet letter of being divorced. No woman wants to be on child support and get $15 to raise a child every month. There is nothing beneficial. And I think that, a couple videos went viral of some woman saying, I got bored in my marriage. That is not the norm. It is women who say, my health was deteriorating. I was losing my hair. Your body is physically connected to your well-being. And if you have men who, and I'm not gonna, I'm not jumping on you, but you gave an example, but it's true because I've heard many men say it. They check out. They don't know how to deal with the conflict, so they check out. They're physical. That's what I told about the women. Don't do certain things that make a man check out, because once he checks out, it is a pain worse than death. For a woman to physically have her man there, but she can't access him emotionally, she can't get to his heart, that is painful. But men are able to compartmentalize because that's how God created your brain. You guys have little buckets. I'm in work mode. Okay, I focus on work. Okay, I'm at home now. I'm working. I'm home. I'm working. My dad died. Okay, well, I'm not focusing on that right now. I'm focusing on, you guys have ability to compartmentalize. As women, we can't go to work when we had a fight with our man. We struggle to focus. I'm gonna speak for myself. Our wires are all tangled like a Christmas tree. One light goes out, it doesn't function. So for a man to say something, for example, hey, she's pouring her heart out. She's pouring her heart out. And he's like, you're overreacting. Calm down. I'm going to go watch the game. You do that over time, a woman is going to lose her mind. You want her to raise your children, but she's struggling to survive because she's designed to be loved on and poured into the way that men are designed to be admired and respected. You have a woman who over time keeps tearing you down and disrespecting you, you are going to hit your breaking point. But with men, when they hit their breaking point, they go into a turtle shell and keep functioning over here because they don't want to look like I copped out.
Can I
I'm a
interject?
loser with my marriage. I didn't win. I promise I'm wrapping this up. Most men don't stay, in my opinion, because it's the noble thing to do. They don't want to look like they were weak or they lost. I committed to this, so I'm gonna stay in it. To me, I don't care if you stay in it for that reason. You should stay in it because I love this person and I want to make sure that they are okay. And that's where it triggers a lot of us women. If I'm not speaking for you, then tell me I'm not, ladies. But that's what's so frustrating. These men are bragging. I stayed for 20 years. Well, congratulations. She has a bald spot because you stressed her the hell out.
All right, hold
Okay,
tight,
see,
everybody.
everything you just said.
Hold tight, because we got to spread the mic. The same people talking. I want to make sure we're fair to the rest of the panel. I heard Trev say something. Lady O haven't spoken at all. Marcus,
They can raise their hands. Like they're adults. They can raise their hands. Like they can speak. Like nobody's
yeah,
stopping.
I know, but just me understanding people's personalities. Some people just, Go ahead, Trev.
All right. So I did want to address the men checking out thing, right? And I don't condone that. It's not a good idea for men to check out, but there are rational reasons for this. Well, even if you don't say rational, let's just say that there are reasons, right? There are things that are happening that will cause a man to check out. Again, this goes back to women's responses. And a man is not going to argue with a unreasonable person, right? We are trying to be problem solvers. Most men aren't afraid of conflict, particularly from a woman. Like, women don't really scare you. Now, they can annoy you or they can cause you to check out just because there's a failure to communicate. A lot of times, women can just harp on one thing, can't get past something. Now you have meta conversations and that you're just stuck on, and it's a very unproductive situation. While meantime, man still has to provide, protect, and all his other primary functions that he has to still do because he understands it as his duty. Men staying in a relationship sometimes that they don't want to is because maybe they want the children to have access to their father for a long time, right? And even though you might not see it as commendable, it kind of is, because he's pretty much sacrificing himself, sacrificing his his whole mental just to ensure that his children get what he feels like they deserve. Because we do understand that men have limited access to their children, and it will cause them to miss out on their fundamentals. So that's why men would do that. It's extremely difficult to try to reason with an unreasonable person. And it sounds very simple, but when you really think about it, if everything that you try to say, the person is irrational, and you just can't get to a point because they can't see what it is that's your POV, you're going to check out because you can no longer be productive. And as horrible as that sounds, I mean, people are just like, all right, so you'll sit there, you'll contemplate, what's my best option? If I go ahead and blow this whole shit up right now, okay, damn, kids are no longer going to have this 5-bedroom. They're going to be going back and forth between homes, right? They're going to have less access to me. There's certain talks that I want them to have. They might be in a situation where they're in their very impressionable years, and so on and so forth. Or maybe they understand what's going to happen to their spouse. Maybe they know that she might have been out of work for the last 8 years. He don't want to see her fall on her face. Maybe that's why some people would stay, just because it seems to be more practical, and they don't want to hurt the people that they care about.
Okay, boys, turn around. John, what color is the ball?
The ball's white. Seriously? Bro, you just like making things difficult?
Well, what color do you say the ball is?
Black. The ball is black, clearly. I don't know what you see around, but the ball is white.
Without looking at the ball, I want you to both switch places.
We believe many things, and we hold dear what we think is right and true. But at times there'll be others who disagree with us. What we believe to be 100% right, they believe the opposite just as strongly. Well, how can that? Can't they see? We can become frustrated, we might grow distant, we may even sever relationships entirely. Slow down. Breathe. Step into the other person's shoes. It'll make all the difference.
The other guy was being irrational.
They were both being irrational.
But the point that was made on the panel was that a woman, we just won't deal with her because she's being irrational. My point is that in a healthy relationship, and I'm speaking from experience, you have to care more about getting on the same page than you are about yourself. Casey was saying that relationships are difficult. Sure. Absolutely. I have a man who admits he is a conflict avoidant. He is used to there being chaos and toxicity, and it's just better to just leave things alone and let's just do something fun, because he didn't see healthy examples of getting through conflict productively. But the reality is you have to be able to put your ego aside. You have to have patience. Maybe you don't think the topic is valuable. Well, guess what your partner does? The person is trying to be heard. And if you ever have someone raise their voice, guess what that means? They don't think you're hearing them. And subconsciously, they will literally raise their voice because they're saying, I want to be heard. Sure. And so if you can't walk away from a conversation saying, let's say it's me and Casey, what I hear you saying is, and she goes, no, that's not quite what I'm saying. Or I say, okay, I hear you. Okay, Casey, this is what I hear you saying. She says, yes, that's communication. Not, oh, I feel like she's talked too much. I don't think she's making any points. She's obviously speaking because there's something she wants to say. I might disagree with her, but I don't see, even on this panel, like I don't see that happening. We have an opportunity, all these people watching.
No one's dismissed anyone's points here on the panel. Everybody's listened to what everyone else has to say, noted where they made.
You missed my points.
No, I just
I would,
disagree with your
I
point.
don't, I
No,
don't,
you completely
What?
misrepresented what I said.
Hold on, y'all. Let her finish. Let Chasey finish.
Not really.
I don't see a lot of healthy discourse. And I started off by saying the comments, they are very, very toxic, even in the comments. And I know it's just YouTube, but this is, if these are how people are talking in YouTube comments, imagine in a relationship where they're actually emotionally invested and triggered, like for real, for real. And this is where I think the difference is. I am never going to sit here and say women have no work to do. I get on women harder than anybody because I'm a woman, so I can get away with it. But the men also have to take ownership of what they're doing. A lot of times they are not listening to what the woman is saying. It could be a situation where he's working really hard and she says, "Hey, I would like to spend more time with you." Do you know what I hear men say a lot? "You should be grateful I'm working." Well, I'm working. Nobody wants a sugar daddy. If you actually love the man, you don't, his paycheck will not keep you warm at night. So what she's saying is, hey, let's figure out a middle ground. Maybe we don't sign up for 15 packages on cable. Maybe we don't, enroll little Johnny in 15 sport. Maybe we find some things we can cut back on so you can actually be there and be present. But a lot of times there's a lot of defense. Mm-hmm.
I want to give you a perfect example of what you're talking about, right? Because I hear you saying it, and I'm trying to take what you're saying seriously, but it seems a little disingenuous. Why? Because if we were to rewatch this panel, right? Anytime I needed to interrupt any of the women on the panel, I raised my hand. You know what I mean? I acknowledged all your points, but a minute ago, maybe
Did
a
you
couple
do that
minutes,
when I was talking just now?
hold on, a couple minutes back, I was talking, right? And Bo completely took the floor and kind of derailed the conversation where I was saying I was addressing something you said. And they even mentioned it in the comments. So I just find it interesting that we talk about this listening. But the problem is that on these panels, the only
But
time
are
the
you aware that
conversation,
you interjected
hold
though
on,
while I have
hold
the
on, hold on.
mic
You're
and you're
doing it
telling me to
now.
hold on?
You're doing it
No, I'm
now.
saying, but if
Are
I was
you
the
aware
first one
that you've done
speaking
that
and
to
you
me
cut in,
this whole time?
But you see what's
You've done
happening
that
right
to
now.
me this
I
whole
raised
time.
my hand. Hold on. I raised my
No, you
hand.
didn't.
I raised my hand, and then
You
you
didn't.
gave me the opportunity to speak. And now both of y'all are interrupting me. And the thing is, in all these panels, because I've been on
I'm
panels
sorry,
for a
who
long
were you
time.
saying gave the opportunity to speak?
All right, just hear me out. Just hear me out. You gave me the opportunity to speak, to respond to you, and so I've been
I
responding
got
to you.
quiet
And you're
because I know
still
that two
doing
people
it.
can't talk at the same.
You're literally doing it right now. And this is the issue that I'm trying to
I'll
point
write it
out.
in the chat.
Whenever it comes to the point of the conversation when we have this discourse with women, when it comes to the point for the women to listen to the men are always listening to the women. When it comes to the reverse for the women to listen to the men, this is how the conversation goes. It gets belligerent. Y'all start interrupting. What I was trying to say before you started hitting me with a barrage of questions is I was trying to reference earlier in the conversation where I was trying to respond to something you said, and Bo butted in, and they kept saying in the comments. So it's like we talk about listening to each other, and we say men are supposed to be leaders, but here I am, a guy trying to take the leadership position, trying to explain, hey, ladies, this is where y'all can improve. Y'all are saying that men need to mend, but look at the divorce rates. Before I could even talk about the divorce rates and how I wanted to incorporate it into my point, oh, you're being disingenuous, da 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 da. I didn't even explain how I was using the divorce rate. I never even got to that point because it was interrupted. And this is the type of thing I'm talking about. It's like you want us to lead, but you don't give us the opportunity because you constantly barrage us with interruptions. You constantly resist anything we say. But when it comes the other way around, we give y'all the space to speak. We allow you to talk. Most of the guys on the panel haven't even spoken much. I've been the most vocal. The men have been doing nothing but listening. If anybody's been listening the least, it might be me, right? So I could take that on the chin. That might be me because I've been talking the most out of the guys. But the guys have just been letting the women talk. But yet here you are saying that you see it even on this panel that the men aren't listening to the women. It's like, that's nonsense. That's not actually happening in real time.
If you rewind the tape, you will see that I had the floor. When you started speaking, I'm not going to talk over you. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to give you the floor. Where I drew the line was when you tried to make the point that I was interrupting. And I simply said, hey, I don't think you realize this. You were actually the one who interrupted me. And I gracefully allowed you to continue. I didn't hear any woman say you're disingenuous. You were the first person I heard use that word on this panel.
I don't use that word. And I didn't know that we were lying on a Thursday. Now that I know the rules that we lie on Thursdays, I'm just gonna start lying because you have interrupted so many times, so many people. There was no hand up. Excuse me. Hey,
That's a
there
lie.
was none. You have not. No. You completely interrupted me. And so I took what I was saying. I took my part back. Hey, if I could just finish. Sure did. Because you interrupted me. So now that I know that this is Tell a Lie Thursday, then listen, I know the rules. When I see cloud up here, it's time to lie. So we're just gonna lie at that point.
All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and get back on track now. We're not gonna go back
I
and
hope that
forth
made you feel
as
better.
far as who cut somebody off. Let's just be mindful when somebody else is speaking and wait to finish, even if they misquote you or you don't agree with them. Also, let's be mindful of the talk time. If you are talking more than a minute and 50 seconds, then we are talking too long. Even though it's great, I just know people's attention spans are short. Let me go ahead and play this clip really quickly. It's not a long clip, but he's talking about correction. So let me go ahead and get this. I thought I might have had it queued up, but I'll put it right back in there. Jamal, I forgot I was going. There we go.
Truth of the matter is, you have learned that correction is threatening, instead of correction being for your benefit. LeBron James has a coach. Michael Jordan had a coach. Tiger Woods had a coach. The greatest to do things at their level paid people to correct them. And because we feel like everybody trying to come at me, can't nobody judge me except God, thug life. Because of this warped mentality that has crept into the church, we think correction means separation from people. Except the Bible says God chastens or corrects the ones that he loves. So 3 areas that I believe that men need to become professionals at mending again. Number 1, we need to mend the relationship between us and him. How did prayer get out of schools? Because men didn't stand up. How there's so many real things coming to my head right now, Carl. I don't know if I can say all of them. We might need to have like a closed men's meeting. Why do these young ladies dress in a way that is provocative and suggestive under the age of 16? It's because the men in their life did not affirm them and give them value beyond their curves. And so to get the affirmation you should have gave them, they have to do things or feel like they have to do things to go to get the attention that the man in their life was supposed to give them. And because in some people's cases, the men in their life were so perverted that they violated them, their mind now is warped to what a father, a man, even the baritone in your voice was supposed to mean. And so now they're going to take control into their own hands. And that's where this whole sexuality movement comes. I control my own body. Most people, they were violated. And so instead of being submitted to what the word of God or Father God says, they have to take control because the earthly men in their life did not mend. So the first relationship that needs to be mended is our relationship between us and him.
Go ahead, Kiki. Let's go.
No, I didn't have anything to say, but I did write something down. Let me see. Correction. The correction is coming at you. Can't nobody judge you. That is the era we're living in. And I blame parents, y'all. I work with kids all day, so I don't really. I'm working on my adult life. But one thing I notice about the youth is that they have been installed to believe that once you become an adult, you can do whatever you want. Can't nobody tell you nothing. You know what I mean? Like, and I think when we, oh, I don't know what the background, but I think that when you're raised up with that mindset and you're fighting to be seen as a person, because that's usually what it is when parents are having a hard time with their teens. Your teen is fighting to be seen as a person, and so then when they do become an adult, it's like, oh, finally I can be myself and I can do whatever I want, but you can't, right? Because ultimately every step that you take impacts you in a positive or a negative way. And so then when we have these people who, you know, you never really got to be yourself or express yourself, they start dating in the world, right? They're typically not having the best experiences because they don't really know who they are. They don't want to be judged. They don't really want the feedback because the only time they have ever been parented or someone's ever cared about them or expressed care has been when they've done something negative. So now they've linked correction with negativity instead of, oh, this person is trying to do something positive with for me. Is, oh, this person's trying to control me, right? And so that's why I feel like you get so many women who you really cannot tell them anything, and it's because, well, I fought to be myself, I fought to be an individual, and here you are coming over trying to tell me who I'm supposed to be, and I'm still trying to figure out who I am, who I want to be, and what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to have you come over here and now I got another person controlling me, right? And I even see now it's starting to make a little bit more sense to me why I see so many young women saying, I don't want to be in no relationship. I don't want to do nothing because you haven't even been able to be yourself on an individual level, and now you got this man coming over here talking about he want to lead you. Where you about to lead me? I'm looking at your life. Where you about to lead me? And so so I hear a lot of parents are up here. So if you are having that experience with your teens that I'm talking about, give them some form of power. I heard someone mentioning sports and activities. Yeah, right. That's when you start to get your power in a little bit of a sense, right? Because you get to be proud of yourself. You get to see yourself be pushed to a certain level, but it's you doing it, right? The coach can only tell you so much, right? But it's really up to you and the action you pour into it. And I think sometimes as women, everybody is trying to tell you who to be, how to be. Everybody think they can live your life better. And so I see why there's so much of the riffraff, because a lot of it is starting when people are young, right? That teenage year, that power struggle, right? And then it starts to trickle off into adulthood to where nobody can tell you nothing because you're grown. You're grown. You got your own house now, right? So now you get to make the rules. And so I'm gonna land it there and see what you guys think about that.
Go ahead, Lady O.
Well, actually, I'm gonna let somebody else go first, and I'll respond after them. Hey, Kiki.
Hi, baby.
Hey, baby.
Let me guess. You're on the phone.
Oh, I'm listening now.
Okay.
No, I'll say something to what Kiki just said. I totally agree that a lot of women are coming with that mindset, and that is the power struggle in a lot of relationships, based on childhood and women not being comfortable with how they're raised, and then they're once they get that freedom, they're fighting their love relationships and love interests. It's a power struggle. Definitely, I think that's the main issue, is the power struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so you're a married woman. How do you think women should navigate breaking out of that, right? That feeling of someone's trying to come and take my autonomy, or
Rebellion.
someone's trying to come and take my independence that I've never even had.
Rebellion.
Yeah.
That's the stage.
But it's a rebellion against self, right? Because the end result is a demise of what it's hypocritical and opposite of what women actually want the end result of their life to be and the outcomes that they want, right? But in the moment and going into those relationships and having that power struggle, they don't see that that's actually working against themselves. But I definitely see what you're saying. When you said that it can happen, I know what the example that you gave, it painted a clear picture of what you're talking about. But in my instance, I'm trying to figure out at what age I could have felt that way with my parents, because my parents are very like, both of them are very outspoken. They're very strong personalities. Marcus knows my parents. They're very like, they're very big fixtures in my life. And you saying that made me think like, dang, how did I feel so free to be myself, as well as really not fight them with their guidance growing up, because I'm very like a strong personality, and you gave me something to think about, right? Because I do know that some kids can struggle in their homes with parents that don't allow them to grow and don't give them space, don't guide them. Some parents teach in a way, and I'm struggling through this conversation right now because you're really making me think. I think that some people in some of their homes rule with the iron fist, right? And I don't mean physically a fist. I mean into the point of, do what I say. There's no room. There's no wiggle room. I don't want your opinion on it. This is what it is, right? And then I think some parents can come into it a place where these are the guidelines. This is my home. If you want all the resources that I can provide, then this is how you operate within my home. That's two different things, but they're both very like streamlined, right? And then there's other parents who kind of just, hey, I found my way, they have to find their way, and I'm gonna be here if they would like the guidance, but they have to figure it out and they have to knock their head. I was a kid that I could look at people around me and look at examples and say, I don't want to do that. That's what I don't need to do. Okay, I'm not doing that. Oh, my mom said, oh, here's the keys to your car. You get the car. Soon as you lie, soon as you're not where you say you are, soon as you don't answer that phone too many times, that phone is gone and that car is gone. Okay, bet, I got you. All I got to do is be honest and tell y'all where I'm going and I'm good. All right. So I think there's different types of kids that can struggle with different types of parenting, right? With that being said, it has to be some type of point, like you said, where a kid is allowed, or a teenager, not necessarily a kid, a young adult, a teen growing into those young adult years, where they are allowed, and I'll wrap it up here, are allowed to express themselves, are allowed to go after things and be very free in pursuit of life, but also be supported in that pursuit of life. Does that make sense? I see Lady knocking her head. I'm kind of like all over the place. Go ahead, Marcus.
So all right. If you could correct me if I'm wrong, I'm judging from the interaction, right? It seemed to me, like from what I observed, that your parents, one, existed in a very traditional framework. So your father, in my opinion, from what I've seen, seemed to be like a strong, stoic, emotionally available man who was tempered in how he spoke and the way in which he interacts with your mom, while respecting and cherishing her and loving her. Put her on a pedestal, but she still looks up to him as the man within the household. So that family structure created a kind of template for how you and your brothers and your family engage. And it seems that y'all very tight knit because y'all have that understanding. Like y'all all seem to have a strong reverence towards your father, or the respect that is not going nowhere. And I think that was built brick by brick by brick by brick. If I was to guess, he probably didn't lie to y'all much. He probably was there when he said he was going to be there, and he supported all the dreams and things that you had. And he really pushed you to be great, and he had an expectation for greatness. That's what I seen. Is that about correct? So I
Yeah,
think that
major
I think
major expectation. My dad's number one thing was now none of y'all, no, out of the four of y'all, nobody will be able to say what me and your mother didn't do for y'all. Whatever
so if,
you don't get out of life is going to be on you, because we have sacrificed and given all that we can give and provide as far as guidance, physically, mentally, spiritually, financially, for your life. So if you end up not where you want to be, it is clearly and wholly on you.
so with that said, I think that so you have to live it to understand the purpose of it. So I'll see people say like, I don't need a father, or a man not that important, or even as a man, being there present for your children isn't that important. But it's one of them things you have to experience to understand it, because you can't really describe it. It creates an ideology and mentality and a framework for your understanding. So when it was time for you to get married, you already had an example of what a trustworthy man looked like and an expectation for the man, and you chose a great man, right? And those things are mirrored, and in doing so, you didn't have a fight for a power imbalance, because you had seen a healthy version of it and how it was beneficial to your family. And I think that's the thing that's hard for people who never had that template as a family structure, or a man that was trustworthy in their life. Because I think an example he used, some men had perversions and even did things to the children, right? So of course that person is going to have a whole lot of baggage and issues with trusting men, and view men as the scum of the earth who are only sexual deviants, because that's been their experience. They're not just going to magically see men as great people who try and sacrifice for because that's not their experience. So I think
Okay, you just said something, the trust part. Okay, so Kiki, I would say the fact that I never had issues trusting my father. Soon as I met my husband, and I had been dating others before him, soon as I met him, the trust and honesty, and this kind of goes back to clout point of view. The trust and the honesty was so like pure and on and like there. It was we were young, but I saw a seriousness about life and trust that was familiar to me, that allowed me to kind of take my hands off of the steering wheel, because I was, in school doing this, dancing, doing that, like literally, like really enjoying my freedom and enjoying how my life was going. But soon as we met, it was this honesty and this openness that was familiar to me, like my father, that kind of, it clicked right away. And everything that he said, he did. So it wasn't like, oh, I'm just okay. Whatever he said, it was like, oh, okay, we're getting serious. 3 months of dating. I want you to meet my parents. I want you to meet my friends. That's when I met Marcus 18 years ago, right? And I'm like, okay, so you're serious. Bought me a plane ticket. Okay, we flying up. I'm flying you up to meet my family. Like, let's go meet everybody. We got to meet my family. And I met all his high school friends. I met his cousins. I met his parents. So he went from, I'm serious about you. Okay, let me show you I'm serious. Let me show you how serious I am about you. Right. So that was kind of that brick by brick of me saying, why do I need to have a wall up against this person? This person, everything that they're saying, they're showing me and it's unraveling. Right. I think another thing that women don't do is, it should be a progression in relationships. It should be a slow progression. If marriage is what you want, it should be steps towards marriage before you get to marriage. You don't go from being a girlfriend and then boom, walking down the aisle. It should be a level of trust that's building along the way that allows you and him to become comfortable as you build this oneness, right? I remember the first time I didn't ask for a key to my husband's apartment. I didn't ask for a key. I got it as a gift.
Didn't you go over there and start cleaning up, like around when you first went by, something like that? If I'm remembering the story right, like when you went by, you just started straightening up, or like, let me get you something. You did.
That's how you get a key.
He was really clean, and he had a roommate, and I could have been like, I ain't cleaning up behind you and your roommate.
That's how you get a key.
You know what I'm saying? If I want my space to be clean, why would I let his space be nasty? That don't make no sense, right? If how I am, And that goes from caring for a man in a relationship and those around you. Anything that you would do for yourself, and I think I've heard Dope Daddy talk about this before on another podcast. Anything that I do for myself, why would I withhold that in a relationship and not do it for another person? That doesn't make any sense. If I care for you, if I love you, I'm going to do those things for you as I do it for myself, because that's how I show myself love, right? So that should be how I show the person I say I love outside of my family.
Well,
Hey, so
I
real quick, I
also
got a
think
question
that
about
That
that.
was good.
I had a quick question about something. I wanted to know, like, how much do you think, like, let's say Gen Z, and Gen Z is important right now. How much do you think they actually value marriage?
Not very much.
Because
It's not that we
what
don't
we're
value
seeing.
marriage. We
Well,
value
I'm going to tell you.
marriage.
Well, I'll tell you why Gen Z generally doesn't, and I would even go as far as to say millennials too, right now at this point, because if people are constantly getting older and older as they get married, right, and they are prioritizing other things and saying, well, I want to travel first. Well, I'm going to do this first. Well, I'm going to get dug into my career first, rather than feeling like a person who you meet and would get married to would help you build on that. That means that your priorities have shifted, which means that if you prioritize it less, then yes, you do indeed value it less. There's no other way to put that. So now that we got that fact out of the way, the question is, why do you think that they value it less?
Because it's a whole conversation, and oh man, that you were on that panel at the top of the year that went bad with Darwin about about women not prioritizing marriage and thinking that you can do it all at the same time. God, I remember that conversation like yesterday. A lot of women really think that, again, goes back to control, like Kiki's saying, that we should be in control of when and how things happen, right? And of course, y'all know the emergenetic scale and being red and yellow and creative and loving and all that, but there's the blue and green side of being organized. And as women, we like organization. We like to know what's next. We like to know how it's going to happen. We like to know when it's going to happen. That's why we go get degrees and go to school, because we're in control and we can feel successful and we can check those boxes. We can physically go after something and check the box and know that we've accomplished it and then move on to the next, right? But family and children are not like that. They're just not. They're not a box that you can check when you want to check it, how you want to check it. It's not going to look exactly how you thought it was going to look. It may not happen the way you thought it was going to happen. It may not happen on the timeline you want it to happen. So you have to have this openness of your spirit to receive and really be willing to go along with the ride of how things happen. I've said it many times. Many women think, that they can have a baby. When, how, what the person going to look like, the genetics of the man. This is how it's going to happen. This is how I'm going to deliver. This is what that's going to look like. If you've ever had a miscarriage, or you've not been able to conceive, a lot of women don't have, if they've never had children, they don't have the conversation of what is it like is conception just an easy thing for every woman? Is carrying a baby easy for every woman? The answer is no to both of those, right? And so a lot of women don't even start thinking about that. They especially on the internet and YouTube talk right now, people just have this la la land fantasy of, oh, I'll have kids at some point in my life. The audacity and the, bravado in you saying that is, some women can't have kids. You never know what's going to happen in your life, right? So to have this attitude of it'll happen when I want it to happen, and Bryant, the woman Bryant that y'all were talking about the other show, Cheyenne saying, "Oh yeah, I'm going to get married soon," or "Where's the guy?" Why do we talk
We
with
do that.
this? We do it and we say it absolutely. And when someone says, I don't think you should say it, well, who are you to tell me when something's going to happen for me in my life? And you're not God. And exactly, you're not God and I'm not God either. So to be closed off in the way it's going to happen, or to say and put it off to say it'll happen when I want it to happen, is not a very y'all give me the word. I can't think right now. Mommy brain. It's not good. And so there's a lot of
Realistic.
humility. Realistic. I mean, it's so many words. But we just have to be, we're not open. We're not open.
So Kiki said that she disagrees. I wanted to, if you could, explain how you do prioritize marriage just as much as generations past.
Our priority, it's not number one, but it's not that we don't care, right? It's more so growing up, like even on TikTok, none of y'all be talking about y'all healthy marriages. We really just don't see it. It's not something that's
because we don't be on
advertised.
TikTok.
You sure don't. You sure don't. You don't.
We at home happy. Marcus White's not on TikTok.
The algorithm doesn't push functional
Every
relationships
time
like that.
I log onto TikTok, I log like on social media, and I'm not a big social media person. Like all my social media pages are my business page. Restart with Kiki, that's business, right? So I have another account, I don't have no personal account, right? And so every time I log on, and I'm like, what am my parents say I have a Hallmark movie lifestyle, right? Like good morning, everybody. Like I play with kids all day. Like I walk my dog. Like I have a very secluded lifestyle from the like regular world. I don't really live in the regular world. I'm more so, and how can you when you work with kids and blow bubbles all damn day? You know, like how some people have a smoke break, I have a bubble break, right? And so when you live like a life that's like secluded from the normal people, and then you go online and everything you hear is negative. Like a man was talking about marriage and how, oh, when I get home, I don't want to hear my wife talk, and I don't care about her career, and if she got a hobby, I don't want to hear that shit when I come home. Like you sound like when I hear the relationships, I be like, ugh,
Kiki,
But
Kiki, who has my newborn right now? My husband. My husband said, I said, I kind of miss Lapeef. He's like, you want to get on? I watch the baby for you for a little while. Go ahead, get on. Because I'm feeding and up all night. I'm up all night anyway, so why not? He's like, jump on. Everything that I do in YouTube space, in social media, dance, teaching, my husband is my number one supporter, right? But I also slide to the background and make sure that he's good. And if I gotta go sit down for a while, he's the number one priority in the house, right? And that's just is what it it just is what it is. But a lot of women, you're right, people that are happy are not shouting out, "Hey, I'm happy," and that's literally why
I did it.
Right. This is literally why I wanted to talk more, because my voice, people like me are not talking as much, right? I love women. I'm a sorority girl. I have I have the same female friends from middle school, high school, college. Like I'm ride or die for my dogs. Like I love women. I love being a girly girl. I'm also have a hard edge because of my brothers. And I love that. I love men. I love women. And I think that this space that JR has created is like, I love it. I was like, oh my God, I get to come on tonight for a little bit, And I told Marcus, I'm like, I get to come on. Like he knows. And Marcus supports his wife in the same way. And everyone makes their house work for them. Like our house doesn't look like Marcus's house. Right. But we both have
talk, the way. So like my community, my people positive. Everybody I know married. Everybody I know, they doing good. And if they're not doing good, they're transparent enough to where I can learn from them. That's my community. But I don't got nobody to date in my community. They all married, right? So then I go into other communities. I'm going into the real world. And I'm like, never mind. Never mind. Because this is what I want. I want over here what they got. But when I go over here, it's not an option. And then I go online and I'm talking to other people from around the world in different cities, different states. And y'all, the way y'all talking is toxic. Actually,
Well,
sign me up for the dogs, right? I'll just be the dog lady. And so, because it's not that, how I think about life now is that I'll just wait for everybody around me to mature because I'm ready. I've been ready for a long time, but my community not ready. And I gotta date you guys though, right? And so actually, I would rather wait until you're in a mental health space. I'm in a mental health space. You got the money that you want, so we don't have to worry about divorcing over money. You done humped everybody you didn't want to hump, so I don't gotta worry about you cheating on me. Like, I'd rather you get it all out of you so that you ready, right? And so I'd rather wait until I'm
Talk,
40. Like, I
Marcus.
always thought that I was gonna be an old mom. I never thought like, I'm gonna be a young mom. I never had that thought. I always had the thought of, oh, I'm probably gonna have my first baby when I'm 40. Kind of that idea of I got all this time to wait. And it's not
No,
that
no, don't say that.
it's not that I necessarily want to wait. It's that I can't guarantee that just because I put in effort and just because I carry myself a certain way that I'm going to get this perfect life that you got. Not saying that your life is perfect, right? But I'm just saying, like, I can't guarantee that I'm going to get what my mom and dad has, what my cousin has, what my brothers and sisters have with their husbands, right? Because I'm living in the actual world and this shit is different. It's not the same. They don't care. They do just want to hump. In fact, I had a man say, he was like, I was like, so what do you value? What do you value from me? Well, girl, I'm just trying to get to know you. Well, how about you just get to know me as a friend then? How about that? Because I've been talking to you for 5 weeks. What do you mean you just trying to get to know me? And so it's just like, it feels like the men in my age group, they just waste your time. Like, they don't know what they want. They're not intentional. They're just not ready. And they're telling us like, I'm not ready. I want to make a certain amount of money. I want to live a certain type of life. And so what am
I
I to
need
do as a woman? Date an old guy?
no, I need Marcus and Trev to like chime in because I know they have, as men, I
Yeah.
know they have a good point of view and stuff to tell you about your point of view. Yeah. And I have to
I got
go, y'all.
questions.
It was so nice meeting you, Kiki. I love your
I
I
miss you.
got
energy.
I
I don't
got
agree with you, but I love your energy.
I got
Come
questions though.
back.
Like,
Bye,
Trey, let me
Bo.
just let me just say
Miss
this
you.
go
real
ahead,
quick.
Marcus. Go ahead.
Nice to meet you, love.
When it comes to talking about like positive fun and all the stuff that's in the marriage, I taper that shit down because one, it could come off as insensitive to somebody who is in a different situation. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll be getting hate and attack for this shit. It don't be like, damn, that's what's up. Niggas, wow, it can't be like that. You can't be living like this. You can't be enjoying this. You can't. Like, I get sick of hearing that shit. I'm like, I'm not about to sit here and battle with you to prove that I'm happy. So if you want to just believe that nothing good is going on, that's on you. It's not really mine. Because I had a conversation one day. I was like, yeah, we never had a fight. They was like, you're a liar. You're a liar. Everybody fights. I was like, bro, I'm not even about to fight you about not having to fight. Just call it about your business. You got that shit. Like, because the truth is, it's not that many people that's really cheering for you to win. And if you try and tell them something positive, they'll be like, well, you're not telling us the whole thing about the relationship. You're keeping something. Like, well, ask me a question. No, you just are hiding everything. I don't know what to ask you that's bad. Like, bro, just ask what you want. It's like they'll be seeking for something to be wrong so they can say, see, this is the reason that I'm not moving like this. I was like, all right, you got it, bro. And to Casey's point, part of being happy, I think, to your point earlier, is about getting away from shit you feel is dysfunctional and not beneficial for you. I'll dub some shit like, this ain't ideal. Why am I putting my energy into this shit? Why am I combating your negativity with my positive? If you can embrace it and not drain me, then yeah, I'll give you all the love I got. But if any way you draining me and there's no benefit to me, I'm not about to keep dealing with that shit. Like, I'm good on that. Yeah, I'm good on that. But yeah, the real thing is look at the people in your real life. Like the people that's happy and talk to them. Those probably better examples. Like negativity spread faster than anything, and sometimes people want to vent, and they might hate their wife on Monday and love her on Friday, and you only hear about what happened on Monday. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only thing I got in regards to that.
So I had a couple questions to like really kind of walk this back. Just to address that one point is functional people generally value privacy. That's just the thing. So you're not going to see your average person posting all their affairs on social media. That's not functional people, right? We can disconnect from that if, you know, even me, a person who posts on social media a lot, I don't put a lot of family stuff on there just because of doxing and, you know, different things. I'm not into that shit. So there was a question that you asked the gentleman that you were dealing with for 5 weeks, right? What does he value about you? Did you have something in mind that you expected him to say? Do you feel like you offered him something that was of value? What would you say you offered that would have been valuable to him?
So the reason why I asked that question was because one of my guy friends, he was saying that women think that they're valuable, but really they're not, because the things that you consider valuable are not the same equivalent of what a man would consider valuable. So I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, and a man will treat you based off of what he values from you. So I'm talking to this guy. He talking about he liked me a lot. You want to be with me, right? Okay. Well, what do you like? What do you value? You know.
I mean, that's a good
Those are two different questions, though, Kiki.
They are.
Yeah, they
Yes.
are.
And
So
he didn't have an answer. Well, okay, so he said, I like you because you're pretty. Like you're pretty.
Did you
I
ask
was
him why
like,
he likes you, or did you ask him what he values about you?
both. I asked both. Right.
Yeah.
I was like, because he said I was like, so what do you like about me? He was like, you're pretty, you know, and I care about you.
Can we get his age?
Okay. Okay, so I
could translate that in
25. So he was 28 or 27, around that age. He wasn't that much older than me. So to me, I'm thinking this is a grown man. I'm 25, so I'm like, oh, he's an older guy. He closer to 30, right? So I'm like, he more mature. He ready to be a husband. He ready to settle down. That's how I used to think. I used to think that depending on how old a guy was and where he's at in life, you know, he would be ready for marriage. I don't think that way no more, but that's how I did when I was young.
Yeah, age and maturity
Younger.
are two different things.
Yeah, so when I was in my younger 20s, that's how I thought. So, and then he's pursuing me. He's trying to buy me stuff, and you know, he's taking me all around town. And so I'm like, oh, you know, he must really like me. Like, what are babies gonna be? Like, I'm being stupid thinking about babies, and we gonna get married and stuff like that. When's he gonna propose? You know, I'm so in the future. And when he told me that, well, what do you like about me? Oh, you're pretty. And then I'm like, okay, well, what do you value about me? Well, I'm just trying to get to know you. That's why we're going on dates.
So again, what do you feel like you offered him that was valuable?
On a human level, I think, okay, because I don't know if you guys care about this stuff. On a human level, what I have to offer is
what you offered him.
My respect, my kindness, my heart, my knowledge. I'm a very knowledgeable person. I seek information about the natural world, so I'm holistic. I like to make my own stuff and learn.
What?
I see, these are things you probably don't care about, but that's how I love myself. I love myself by not putting toxic things in my body. I love myself by working out and be healthy. And all these qualities that I have for me and standards I have for me are things that I plan to pass down to my children. And I specifically learned so that I could have a healthy family. But those aren't things that you're gonna value. You probably don't care that I make my own shampoo.
It's not that the guy's not going to value those things. Is that those things that you're talking about, like you said, you offer your respect. I mean, respect is like a very basic thing. Like none of those things are things you're offering to him. These are just things that you do for yourself and your own well-being, but it's not something you're offering him. Whereas on the vice versa, you said he was offering you something. He was taking you out on dates. He was taking you around town. He was offering you something that was tangible. What I think what you missed, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but just to translate from a guy's perspective, right?
Yeah.
When you asked him what he values about you, like he's known you for 5 weeks and he's saying, I'm trying to get to know you. What he essentially said to you is that in the 5 weeks that I've known you, you haven't shown me anything of value yet, but I'm still trying to find it, which is why he's saying, I'm trying to get to know you still. He's saying like, look, I'm not saying you don't have no value. I'm just saying that, hey, it's been 5 weeks. I've been taking you out. You haven't shown it to me yet. I'm hoping it's there. So I'm still trying to get to know you. The point where you don't have any value at all is when he's like, okay, like I don't want to get to know you anymore. You get what I'm saying? But I think maybe you might have prematurely cut that situation off because maybe you wanted him to value a certain way, but the difficulty that you had in saying what you offered him, like the difficulty that you had in saying what you offered him shows that like he wasn't necessarily wrong. You didn't really give him anything to value you by yet. He just likes you because you're pretty and wants to get to know you. And that's an honest response.
Yeah. And I think it was honest. I think that
I want to ask you
go
some
ahead.
questions. I need some qualifying questions. Because I kind of disagree with Clout, right? But I need some qualifying questions. I need to know some things. Do you feel like that you guys talked a nice amount when you guys were dating, that you exchanged information and he knew a lot about you, at least that you like to make holistic things and stuff like that?
Yes, he knew me since I was in high school, and he always tried to get with me, but I was like, nah. I wasn't necessarily interested in relationships.
But he knew that he pretty much knew that you were the type of woman who liked to cook natural foods and make your own shampoo and these type of things.
And I was an athlete and stuff, and that's where I thought like
Make him shampoo?
I got respect from him, was because he was an athlete as well, and the sport I did was really hard, and like I was showing up and I was really good, and it was my first year being a rower. I was a rower for college, but I was
did you cook him any of those natural meals or make him any shampoo?
No, I gifted him one of my paintings for our first date. I made him like a little mini painting. I always so that's like my Caribbean trait, right? That's how I show people I love. I like to gift people. So I never go nowhere like empty-handed. I think it's rude. And I also think it's rude for you to show up to my home with no gift. So yeah, when
I'm curious,
our first date, I made him like a cute little mini painting.
I'm curious though, like how do you think a guy would receive that? Like imagine you're a guy on a date with a girl and a girl gives you, like, let's say we had a nice restaurant, you know, the bill is going to be $100-$200 plus, right? I'm dressed up. I put my best. I put my cologne on.
Just so you know, Cloud, I don't think Dope was finished with his point.
I wasn't finished.
Oh my! Did I cut you off, Dope?
Yeah.
My bad. I concede the floor. You got it. My bad. You got it.
So I think what I disagree on is the things that she said were valuable to men objectively, right? Even if a woman doesn't have to necessarily, I knew you for 5, and it's possible that she prematurely cut that off. I'm not saying that that's not the case. I don't, that's why I'm asking more questions. But if I've known you for 5 weeks, and if I know these things about you, that you're the type of girl, oh, look, I see you wearing your natural hair right now. You already getting points. All of us men say that shit on the panel. You're wearing your natural hair. You got points. We value that about you. And I've never been on a date with you, right? So these things that you're talking about, you make holistic things. Most men objectively value these things. I know me personally, I would have probably said those things like, oh yeah, you the type of girl to do this, you do these things, and I like that about you. I value those things about you. I don't know, the extent of your relationship, but I would just be, I see where Cloud is trying to go. Like, even when you said, oh, the guy proposed to buy you certain things and he wanted to do certain things. Like, I don't think a woman should necessarily value that. Oh, like if he asks her that question, what do you value about me? And she said, oh, you buy me stuff and you take me out. Like, what man wants to hear that a woman values that you buy her things and that you take her out? Like, shorty, like, you don't like me. Like, I'll be like, yo, I gotta get out of here. You don't like me, right?
What if that's all you show her?
Because if he would have asked me what did I value about him, it would have been the fact that he was a very disciplined person. Like he used to wake up and jump rope and stuff and like do different types of push-ups, like, you know, finger push-ups. I ain't never seen nothing like that. And I was like, wow, you're really strong. And like I can tell that you have been practicing this for a while. So I liked his dedication. I love that he was always trying to help me with stuff and like teach me something versus like necessarily giving me the answer, right? Like it was like he was trying to show me stuff. And I really liked that he was creative. Like he wasn't, we didn't have no money. We were broke. We were in college. So I really liked the dates that he won. Like he went out of his way to find events because I'm a picky person. And so when he had, it kind of hurt my feelings. It really did. It kind of hurt my
What did,
feelings because I'm like, dang, like here I am putting in all this effort. You know, you've been begging to date me. You've been begging me. So why? Why have you been begging to date me
I
if
mean,
there's
maybe he
nothing
might
you
not.
really value?
I mean, maybe he might not have been real good as far as expressing his feelings, but he was showing it.
Can I ask a question? You because the way you described the things he did for you, you said went out of his way, right? What things did you go out of your way to do for him?
To be honest, I would say nothing outside of quality time. Back in those days, I was a college athlete.
He was too, right?
And what if it?
You said he was a college athlete too?
Yeah, but he,
Oh, okay.
for him, it was a little different. Like he was like a trophy person. Like
Oh.
he was popular. I wasn't popular. Like I had something to prove. He didn't have nothing to prove. Everybody already knew how he was, right? So like it was.
He already, you basically saying he already proved it?
Yeah, like he was the man, like
Okay.
before he got to college. And when he was at college, like everybody welcomed him in. I was the nobody. And so I kind of had to prove my ranking and why I should be taken serious. And I was modeling and I had my own business. I had I've been running the same business for a while. Restart with Kiki too. I had two businesses. One I started as a teenager and then my blog. And so I was really, really busy. But when we started dating, I made it my mission to like cancel out things, even miss events. And that's unlike me because I'm very selfish with my time. Because when I have a goal in mind, I got tunnel vision. But for him, I was like, if I want to be in a relationship, I got to be willing to have some form of a sacrifice.
Okay, see, I'm a little confused, right? Because you're describing him as the man, right? But then you're simultaneously not describing yourself as like that girl. But then you're upset with him for not seeing you as that girl. But essentially the way you're describing the situation is like, honestly, it sounds like he's the catch in the situation. So if he's the catch in the situation, based off how you're describing him, right? You're saying he's the man, he's popular, he's all ready to start athlete. You got stuff to prove. You're trying to gain your property. You're trying to level up. So my thing is like, if he's that dude, then why does it make sense that you would now stop messing with him because he didn't value you yet? He's that guy. So it's like you kind of would have to level yourself up to be valued at his level because he's what you're aspiring to be. And that would be the ideal person for a leadership role. The person you already said you like the way he was disciplined, you like the way he worked out, you're aspiring to be an athlete. So for me, it just seems very confusing that you would distance yourself from that guy who had the potential to bring out all of the things you wanted simply because he didn't see you as you saw him. But it's like, that's not his fault. That's up to you, kind of. He did the work necessary for you to see him the way you saw him. You had not yet done that work to be seen the way you saw him. So it's like, why not? The fact that he even saw you, I feel like should say a lot. Like he's spending all his time on you and he can't even say why he values and he's doing all this for you. I mean, it seemed like you might have blew something that might have been worth pursuing. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I like the person I'm with now. Like is something different, right? I never felt like someone was the one, whereas I feel like the guy I'm with right now is the one. And I say that because he don't make me feel insecure. Like and he don't need to verbally say anything for me to have
He
reassurance.
doesn't
It's
challenge
just
you.
it's purely his behavior, how he show up, how he's consistent, how he's reliable. Whereas other homeboy didn't seem reliable because he didn't know why he was there. The guy I'm
You
talking
said
to
he
right
was
now,
you said
he
he was
know why he there. He know why he could tell me right now, and he could tell the world. He could tell everybody why he chose me. right? He can tell, and he shows it though. You know what I mean? And like the guy I'm with right now, I don't feel like an inconvenience to, right? Because I have severe allergies, right? The guy I'm with right now, I don't have to check a menu. I don't have to
So you felt
say,
like an
oh, am I
inconvenience to the
allergic
other
to
guy?
this or if I'm allergic to that? I never had an allergy outbreak with the guy I'm with right now, right? And it's because the attention to detail, like he knows why he likes me, he knows why he values me. Anything I tell him, he remembers, he does it. Whereas the other
So the
guy,
other guy made you feel insecure.
he
Also,
made
in
me feel
addition
insecure
to the fact
because
that
he only cared about my looks. He didn't care about my heart and my soul and who I was as a person. Because I thought it was
caring
he
about
who
your looks
found a
made you feel
wife.
insecure.
Eh? Come on.
Him caring about your looks and liking your looks made you feel insecure.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes, it did. I didn't want to be, when I model and stuff, that's when I care about all that, right? Because I'm getting paid. That's when it's shallow. It's too shallow for me. So when you're saying that you only like me because I'm pretty, that's hurting my ego. That's hurting my pride because I'm more than my looks. I'm very smart. I'm a nerd, okay? I'm very, very smart. I study neuroscience,
But
right?
you hold on,
Talk about that.
well, hold on. You said why he liked you and why he liked you and why he valued you are two different things, right? So liking you because you're pretty. I mean, do you want someone dating you to not think you're pretty?
I want you to see beyond that.
In 5 weeks? In
Mhm.
5 weeks, how much of that should they be able to see?
A lot. If you're actually being intentional and vetting me, a lot.
While also a college athlete that's also trying to pass college in 5 weeks time, you're studying for finals, midterms, all that stuff. You're both college athletes during 5 weeks of dating in college. You're supposed to be able to know someone's heart. I think that's kind of like a high expectation.
I don't think she's asking him to know her heart in 5 weeks, but just to be able to give me an answer outside of like I'm pretty. Because you got to think, right? A female's primary agency when it comes to men, we want a pretty woman, obviously. We like fat asses, we like all that type of stuff, right? And the vice versa. Women like men with status, they like men with money. But you don't want to hear a girl say, I like you because you got money. And I like you
You're
because you
right.
got status. And I like you because your car. These are the
You're
things
right.
that I like you. I've only known you for 5 weeks, but these are the things that I like so far.
But dope. If the only thing I've shown a woman in 5 weeks of dating her is my cars and my apartments and my clothes and my houses, and I never tell her what I know about neuroscience, about neuropsychology, whatever. I never talk to her about psychology. I never talk to her about religion. I never talked about art. If we never have those conversations, what else can I expect? You get what I'm saying?
So
I'm
here's the
just saying,
thing.
like, the onus is kind of on me too. If I'm someone who has this deep personality and the person that I'm seeing doesn't see that in 5 weeks, maybe there could be a chance that I failed to present that side of myself.
So here's the thing about that. In 5 weeks, if you were really paying attention, it doesn't matter how many classes you got to go to and what other extracurricular activities you have going on. If you like that person, you could have the busiest life and you would still notice all of the things about that person because you can hear it when they talk. Actually, you can see it in their face. You can see it in their body language. You can, all of the things, the way they react to things. You hear all of the little things. Also, there are questions. You ask questions because you're curious to know that person. Well, I wonder why you did that. Well, I saw that you did that. I wonder why. A person that really wants to get to know you gets to know you. You do not have to present information to that person because they want to know things about you. And they're being extremely intentional and they're asking questions about you.
Yes.
So you cannot pass off the responsibility for her to tell him the things because it is up to him to get to know her if he wants to know her and vice versa.
I think you're correct to a certain degree. However, I do believe that a person can try to get to know you, and there are people who are guarded. There are people who don't necessarily share as much. So someone could be trying desperately to get to know you, and you could have a wall up and be resistant and not let them know. It can take years to fully get to know somebody. There are people who are married who have been married 25 years and are learning new things about their partner every single day. So this idea that in 5 weeks I'm supposed to know you enough to be able to say how I value you, I think that's not really fair if we've only been dating casually for 5 weeks. Now, if you're my girlfriend and we've been together for months, and I can't tell you how I value you, I could understand that being offensive or like bothersome, but it's like we're talking about two people who are casually dating. They're not in a relationship. And it's been 5 weeks. Again, 5 weeks. If we're talking about college, we're not talking about 5 weeks of seeing each other every day, right? We're talking about 5 weeks of seeing each other 2 to 3 times a week, maybe.
Chloe,
Right.
I'm
So I'm just saying 5 weeks of, if we see each other 2 to 3 times a week, that's we've seen each other 10 times for maybe an hour each time, 2 hours. Right. So you're talking 10 hours of time together. And over this time, I'm supposed to know how I value you. 10 hours, I'm still getting to know you.
Chloe,
I'm just saying.
I met my girl in February when we met a while ago, right? My birthday is in March. On my birthday, she bought me a book, right? You know why she bought me a book?
I don't know why she bought you a book.
She bought me a book because I like to talk, right? And I like to, and when we were talking, I would tell her about the thing. She thought that I like to read, right? And that was one of the things she valued about me. She told me today, like, oh, when I first met you, you was building a desk from scratch. And I noticed that, and I like that about you. I was like, oh, he likes to build things from, like, he's doing a project. Like, she just liked, these are small things that she liked about me. And I had small things that I liked about her. Like, we from the first date, we talked for a long time. Second date, we ate, we talked for a long time. Third date, we talked for a long time. In 3 dates, I knew what I valued. Even, I'm not saying that I knew the girl blood type, right? I'm not telling you to know somebody blood type, but I'm saying, like, oh, I talked to you. Oh, I like this about you. Oh, you like, talk to people. If y'all not talking, it's different. But if they're text, like, we not old people. We text. We text.
But we're not. I feel like we're conflating like and value. Like, value has to do with, like, valuableness is like almost associated to usefulness, like how you impact my life, right? In order to value something, it has to have some type of meaningful impact on your life. To like something, I could like you for a lot of reasons, but the question that she asked him was how he values her. And I'm just saying, in 5 weeks, in 5 weeks, you probably have not had a measurable impact on his life to be able for him to have a value of you in that way. That's all I'm saying. The guy probably had a list of things. He might have had other things why he liked her, but again, we're conflating those two things. I'm sure you did know why you liked your girl by the third date, but to know how you valued her on the third date, was she even like, she's not even your girlfriend yet? So it's like, how would you even value her yet when she hasn't added value to your life yet?
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you a question, right? Is a woman, is there value in a woman who wears natural hair?
Sure.
Okay, that's one thing. Is there value in a woman who knows how to make her own shampoos and she prefers to make her own shampoos and no preservatives and none of the BS?
Yes, there's value in that, but I want to be clear that value has nothing to do with her value towards me in a relationship. Meaning, like, her making shampoo has it dictates nothing on how we're going to relate to each other as human beings in a relationship. Having natural hair has no impact on how we're going to relate to each other or value each other as human beings. Her hair could change tomorrow. She could never make another shampoo in her life. That's not something you value somebody by. That's something you like about.
The value in that, because I'm literally sitting here reading natural healing and natural health books, like, as you all are talking. I make remedies, herbal remedies. I teach people how to make herbal remedies. There is value in that to my partner, to my husband, to my man, whatever you want to call it.
You're doing that for him
because I live a very natural lifestyle. I live a very organic lifestyle. I live a very healthy lifestyle. And that is valuable to that man, because the woman that he gets, like Kiki, is going to come in and help him heal. She's going to keep him healthy. She is going to keep his life.
Assuming he's into natural medicine.
Going to see, do you see? She is going to keep his quality of life in a positive, in a very positive way. She's going to improve his quality of life by that. there is value in that. So you can't say just because she made shampoo. You have to understand that a person who takes the time out to research how to do something like that is going to heavily improve your quality of life health-wise, because that's what she cares about. And the fact that you can't see that, that means that you, a man like you, would not be for a woman like her.
Well, I'm not saying that there's no value in having those skills. What I'm trying to say is, on a specific level, you may have all these natural holistic skills, but if I'm a man that's dating a woman with natural holistic skills, but I'm not into holistic medicine, let's say she's into holistic medicine and I'm not, that skill means nothing to me. If she makes shampoo and she's great at making shampoo and I'm bald, what difference does it make that she makes shampoo? That's not something to value her by. That's just something she does. Something to value her by is how she treats me. When I'm sick, does she take care of me? That's more valuable to me than if she makes holistic medicine. Because guess what? She might make holistic medicine and be stingy and not care to help me when I'm sick. But another woman might, all she know how to do when I'm sick is make chicken noodle soup. But that's going to comfort me a lot more than the natural remedies I'm not getting. So to me, what I'm going to value from a woman is things in relation to how she treats me, because that's what I can value about her. That's specific. You guys are talking about character traits and skills, and it's like, it's great that she has skills. That makes her a well-rounded human being, and that's wonderful. I'm not saying those are bad things to have. That makes her a valuable person. But we're talking about being valuable in regards to dating that specific person, that guy. That guy in particular, do you know if he liked natural shampoos? Maybe he didn't. So then that skill wouldn't matter. So I'm talking about, how did she show, what did she do to provide value to that guy in specific in order for him to value her? Not what skills she has that are valuable as a human being. Is my argument being understood?
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, you just want to be contrary. I get it.
I have another question for you, Clout.
If that's what you got, then I'm sorry that your ability to comprehend is that small, because that's what I said was much larger than that.
I got another question for you, Clout. Are these two different questions, or are they the same question? What do you value in me, and what value do you add to my life? Are those two are the same questions, or are they different questions?
They're different questions.
Okay, because I think you're talking about the question of what value do you add to my life versus what do you value about me, right?
Well, in the inverse, it's okay. So if you're asking me those same questions, they're a different question. But when you're asking me one and I'm asking you the other, they function like the same question, right? So if you're asking me, how do I value you? Well, then I would have to ask, well, what value do you bring to my life? Because that's how I would judge how I value you. Because there has to be some value you add to my life in order for me to value you. So that's how it makes sense. So do you get what I'm saying? I hope I'm not losing nobody here. Like, I can't value you if you don't bring value to me.
Because
you bringing value to yourself doesn't bring value to my life.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, right? So if she asked the man, what do you value about me? And he didn't have anything besides her being beautiful that he values, then that means that she's not the woman for him, and she should have moved on, right?
That could be true.
If you want a dog that is going to love you and that can be in your house, you have no business buying a Belgian Malinois, right? They need to be worked.
Right.
You need to utilize them for what they're designed for, right? If she's a holistic woman and she's like, yo, I want to have kids, I want to breastfeed, I want to eat good foods, and I want my family to eat like this, and you don't value those things, then she made the right decision, then instead of trying to add
that's one side. I think what you're saying is true to an extent. Yes, it is possible that they were just a wrong fit. But I'm saying it's also possible to consider that maybe she didn't effectively communicate what her values were in his life. Maybe she didn't add enough to his life to impact him in a way for him to be able to answer that question. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying, hey, there's not only one right answer. Your answer could be right as well. Like I said about Bo's answer, I said she's correct as well. I'm not saying Bo's wrong. Even though I think it's something different, I can still understand that your perspective and Bo's perspective are still valid possibilities. I'm just trying to understand if you guys see mine as a valid possibility as well.
No, that's absolutely a possibility that she, which is why I made sure that I asked her the question, like, did he know these things about you? Did you guys talk? I made sure I needed to ask those questions. Did y'all talk a lot? Is this something that he knows, or maybe he didn't know? Because if he didn't know those things, then it's like, all right, cool, that's a fair point. But she said that she knew he knew these things, and she knew he knew her for a long time. Is actually what she said. So in that case, it's like, yo, bro, you value me because I'm pretty. That's like telling a man, yo, I value you because you got money. It's the same thing.
So there's a couple
But
things.
again, I gotta
with that,
show
right?
her more than the paper. Like if I only take her to Roof Chris and splurge, that's what she gonna know. If I don't invite her to that calm picnic date where we could really dive in each other's minds and all that, she's not gonna know that about me. So I'm just saying that goes both ways. You if you want people to know you for more than that, you also have to present that too. And I'm not claiming she didn't. I'm just posing the option that might be something to look into, just as because she's posed it as advice, kind of. So I'm just throwing it as a male perspective. Hey, consider this too.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
I don't want to say. I don't want to say anybody made the. I don't want to say you made the wrong decision per se, but I would say I don't think that's a very effective way to operate. I think you may have disqualified him prematurely. For one, Jared made a great point that sometimes people don't articulate themselves the way that they may want to. Particularly the, like you might have just put him on the spot, and he like, oh, what the fuck type question is this? Not everybody's going to respond well to that. Maybe that could be a deal breaker for you, and if so, then yes. But it also could have been maybe you just truly didn't provide value that's beneficial to him. And if someone is asking me the question, like you should know your own value. But if you're asking me, then the question, how that's phrased, I would answer it in a form of where I'm telling you what's valuable to me. And if you didn't offer anything out of the ordinary, particularly you saying this is that guy, like you probably did just basic things that any other female or possessed the same traits that most females he would run into in college as that guy, athlete in college, right? So at some point we gotta be like, all right, let me try to offer value. What is it about this guy? How can I infuse myself into this person's life with thinking for him? Let me tell you what men find valuable. Thinking for us sometimes, not where you're trying to command us, but when you say, you know what, I think he would find this shit useful. Let me help him with his routine. Let me support him. Let me build him, pour into him. That's what men find valuable. And if you think that might have been too soon, then that was probably too soon to even ask that type shit. That's just how I feel about it. If he didn't find value, then I couldn't see anything that you named that was particularly valuable to him. In all honesty, those are great things that some people would appreciate, but not valuable to him at that point. He has to be into the same type of things. And even if he is, if it's not offered to him at that point, it's still not valuable. I could be driving a Benzo right now. You might really love Benzes, but if I ain't giving it to you, what's it mean? I'm gonna just drive away with my shit. You ain't got nothing. That's not tangible. So I want to encourage women to try harder sometimes, and don't find as many reasons to disqualify people, because I think that I don't think he's a bad dude. He might not be at all, but I watch women disqualify men for reasons that I find to be frivolous. Just because to me, even if you just said, look, you know what, maybe we can have a deeper discussion. This is what I mean by this. Like, let's talk about it. Or how about saying, well, what could I do for you that you will find value in? But that humility most times is missing. We just saying, okay, F you, you're not the one for me. And then people are like, there's not a lot. There's piss in the dating pool, but dude wasn't out here beasting. He probably wasn't running around smashing a whole bunch of joints. Homeboy's about to get a degree. Who knows? If he that guy, he might have been getting a scholarship. Probably a prime candidate to have as somebody, and you had access to, and he's, from how you call it, he was sweating you. So
not to mention her hating ass homeboy is the one who put the bug in her ear. Her guy bestie who really was probably the villain that wanted to smash on the side. He put the bug in the ear, like, yeah, that nigga don't value you.
Dirty macking.
Value you like I
There's
value.
a lot of cats out here dirty macking with no
questions.
shame.
You listen to him, you ask the dude the dumbass questions and fuck up the relationship. Listen to the nigga that wanted to smash you on the side. And is he still your bestie?
He is. He's married. He's a very healthy person, but he's also the reason he's my typical.
He's
male
married. You're
friend.
not though.
Right. He's my
Right.
typical male friend that I seek advice from because he's always been a serious person. Like, I don't believe in sleeping with women before marriage. I believe in carrying myself a certain way. I only talk to women unless I like he don't go on dates with women unless he sees them as like a potential.
He
So
was a
it's more
virgin.
so I just want to hang out and get to know you. And if I actually like you more than that, then I'm gonna specifically ask you on a date because I want to work towards something, right? And then, okay, we're dating, we're working towards marriage. Okay, I'm actually propose to you, right? So that's the type of man he is. And so I always seek advice from him because I knew that he was serious. And so when he told me, like, okay, if Buddy is really serious about you, right? He will have something to like about you and ask him, what does he value? Like, you've known him, he's known you for a long time. So there has to be something, right?
Translation.
And what is it?
Kiki, how old are you?
If Buddy is like me, this is a translation for that. If
27.
Buddy is like me, he'll see you how I see you. And if he doesn't see you as I see you, then you need to get rid of him. That's the translation.
Kiki,
Okay.
how old are you, Kiki?
Now I'm 28.
You're 28, and this was about 3 years ago.
I was like, yeah. I was like 25. Yeah.
What were you guys studying? What was he studying?
Oh, I don't even remember. I think education.
Like, education. So, was he getting his master's, his bachelor's?
He was in his master's.
Okay, because he was 28. You said like 27, 28. That's a little old to
Yeah.
be.
He has his PhD now. He's like in his 30s. Yeah.
Okay, I was just trying to wrap my brain around the age. I'm like, maybe he being a doctor or something like that because it'd be 28 and you know.
Yeah. We were both on track to be doctors,
Okay.
not medical doctors, but
okay. Now, were you? I'm assuming. Were you? I'm not gonna assume anything. Were you guys physical?
No.
Just dating, just talking. Now, was he? What you say he was an athlete, right?
Wait, y'all wasn't. Sorry. So he took you on dates. Never mind.
A woman who's not a hoochie.
No. That's not what I'm saying. No, not at all. I'm saying like, so this guy in college, a guy that's that dude described by you, took you on these dates for 5 weeks, and y'all wasn't physical.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you might have dropped the ball.
No, was he the type of guy that like got women, or was he the type of guy that was kind of like I'm waiting until marriage, or was he doing his thing type of? Was he a player or?
I'm gonna say he was a player, and I only say that he was a player because he was a pastor's son. You know, he had that whole squeaky clean image. I was a good girl, you know, squeaky clean image. But where we were different was when we were talking to each other, he was the only guy I was talking to. So like I'm thinking we're working towards being boyfriend and girlfriend. But when he was talking to me, he dang near had a girlfriend. Like like he was talking to a girlfriend for talking to a girl for a long time, and I never knew that. And so this like let's say he was talking to that girl for about 2 years. They didn't have an actual boyfriend girlfriend title, but they had been talking on and off, right?
Were they physically?
Lock his ass up.
Do you know if they were?
Lock his ass up.
I'm screaming. I wouldn't know.
He was single and dating, basically. You're saying.
Yeah, he was dating, but from how she made it, she thought that she was his girlfriend or working towards being girlfriend. And so I came in almost like the home
She was
record.
his girlfriend, or she was his girlfriend.
He said he that they weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. They have been going on dates a lot, right?
Right.
And I'm like, that's.
He figured because they've been on dates a lot, we together.
And that's basically how she was saying it. So it was kind of like he say, she say. It was really like a he say, she say situation. But I just wind up. Here's my thing, homie. Begged, like when I say begged, high school, college, like the whole like now we in our masters. He begging. So I was like, you know what? At this point, I had gotten my second relationship. I've only had 2 boyfriends at that point. And so I was like, you know what? You're a nice guy. You never did nothing wrong to me, right? Yeah, I haven't seen you out here in the streets like that. I'm gonna give you a chance. Huh?
You just said you ain't see him out in the streets, but you just say he was a player. So which one is it? Is he a
Yes,
player
because
or he
I
not in the
found
streets?
I would consider him a player because there was okay, this is crazy. Okay, this is how it happened.
Keep it a buck with we need to know how many women he was.
This is what happened. One day
He wasn't
I'm
in the
in my
streets.
dorm. I'm in my
Let's just say
dorm.
he was a player.
One of my friend who
That's
lives
the
with me
son.
in the dorm, right? She got the door open because she cleaning and stuff. Like we're cleaning. This girl busts us into my dorm room. I'm looking for Kiki. Ready to fight me because she thinking that I'm sleeping with her man. And I'm like, who's your man? Who's your man? And then when she said who it is, I'm like, girlfriend. So then I'm like, come on, let's call him together. And so he was basically saying, like, no, we just dating, and she was like, but I've only been dating you and you over here dating these other girls. We never had that conversation.
Wait.
I thought we was exclusive.
Hold
So
on.
like I'm on the phone.
Pause for
And
1 second.
they-
Just 1 second. So you're saying he answered the phone and
For
he
me.
responded and answered these questions to both of you and explained the situation.
He took us to dinner. Like it was a whole thing. And I was just like, this is coming from the guy
You goofy.
who
That's
just
a
told
good
me.
brother. You goofy.
You sound like he took both of y'all to
I'm
dinner.
real with you. You goofy. That's a good brother.
Yeah,
I
'cause
would
he
have
was.
never done none of that. You're goofy.
I was goofy. I was very
No.
gullible. I was very stupid because again, like I said, I live a very isolated life. I don't do malicious things to people. I don't
You
like
shouldn't have listened to
I
homie.
don't have that energy in me because like I said, like I just don't have the time. I don't have the patience. I don't like so I'm not thinking that this guy that I've grown up with is trying to do something malicious to me, trying to hurt me. That wasn't my mindset. When he's been begging for me to go out with him and give him this chance.
Wait,
So
what did he
I'm
do
just
malicious to you?
I'm letting the man leave me.
What did he do malicious to you?
Baby, I'm begging.
You say he took you out on nice dates. Hold on, you're confusing me. You said he
He
took you out
confused
on nice
me.
dates. You said he ain't get the draws, but he was taking you on nice dates, going out of his way, planning all type of special little things for 5 weeks straight.
Listen,
And ain't getting no
he
cat.
clearly
And this is the guy that you said was a bad guy.
he clearly just wanted to be my sugar daddy. Like he clearly wanted to be that.
What?
He wasn't trying to be no husband.
These men don't want to be providers, right? You're gonna say something like that, right? These men don't
These
want to
men,
provide.
they want to provide. They want to be tricks. That's what men want to be. They want to be tricks, and they hoping that they get treats.
They
They tricking and treating.
But now he was tricking. So he wasn't just treating you nice. Now he was tricking.
Tricking and treating. He was tricking, trying to get a treat.
This
I
is
think
why
that's
I
what
don't
happened.
provide early. This is the backlash.
Did he ever talk to you about being physical? Talk
So
to you
first,
about
he didn't value it, but now it's because he was tricking for a treat.
Yeah, he was tricking for a treat. Clearly, that's the only explanation.
Did he ever talk to you about sex or make any moves at all? Anything like that?
Yes, but that was more so when we were like in the friend stage. He was like, oh, what if we hooked up and stuff like that? And I was like, I don't hook up with people. He was like, well, I've been trying to take you on a date, so like, are you the hooking up type? Like,
he
how
asked you
can
that.
I get you?
So you said no to hooking up, and then he said, "I'm trying to take you on a date."
He had been asking
And
me
this
out
is
for
the
a long
bad dude?
time, so I think he was trying to get me whatever way he could.
Just so you know, the bad dude, the moment you said you wasn't trying to hook up, that would have been the last time you spoke to him.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true.
I think he was just honestly
trying to
because
hook
he
up
had
and you
been
say you're
asking
not
for
trying to
so
hook up. That's
long. He was like, shoot, you don't got a
So what
boyfriend.
made
You
you
haven't really
eventually
been
give
dating
in?
nobody. Like, shoot, do you just want to hook up, maybe? I don't know.
Man,
For
that's
one, he a little bit goofy for asking you.
taking you out on dates for 5 weeks and all that good stuff. And you told him you made shampoo, and he was supposed to value you when he's a star sports player. Dude got girls throwing cheeks at him. They in love with him. Dude's a top academic. He a pastor's son. He got Jesus in his life. And you mad because after 5 weeks of spoiling you, he didn't know what he valued about you yet. That's crazy. That's wild. That's like wow.
You probably just created a
wild.
supervillain.
Me? No. He was the villain in the story.
Yo, how many other relationships did that homeboy mess up for you?
No, y'all gotta.
And then he went off and got married. Nasty work. And you not married? Crazy.
But you
filthy work.
Y'all gotta take the context in the play though. She said that he spoke to her about like hooking up, like
in the friend zone.
So he not a church boy. So we're gonna get the church boy thing out of here. That he just.
I never said that.
I'm not saying nobody said that, but this is context of like he acts like if you like a girl, you don't really talk about.
Pum pum. Yeah, talk about.
He was trying to bust it down, which is cool, you know.
But when she said, "I'm not that kind of girl,"
wait, time out. Are you trying to say that that's not our first instinct?
I'm
trying to hit. If you dating, that's not your first instinct to hit.
When I was that age, or no, actually, when I was a little younger than him, that was my first instinct. When I was 28, I started maturing a little bit. But yeah, before that, when I was 26, 25, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I just think we gotta take that into consideration. You know, like, and you saying like, yeah, you know how many niggas. I don't think that men should listen to what women tell them on it. Like, a woman tell you like, oh, that's in one ear out the other ear.
Truthfully.
You're not gonna do what? Yeah, girl, you in 2 weeks you're gonna be doing everything you said you ain't gonna do. That's just, you know, that's how I used to see things. That's how I used to put it up.
You know, she ain't do it.
So that's why I say a lot of the times
you could have made something up off the top. Like,
I feel like a lot of the times men don't really know necessarily what they want, especially when they're in their 20s. And so they just be trying everything. But when you be trying everything, you are creating the villains, you are creating the 304s, you are creating the distrust between women. If you feel like you're not serious, I honestly think you should say that. If you just want to clap cheeks, there are girls out here who just want their cheeks clapped too.
How long you and your boyfriend been together?
Why you think?
How long you and your boyfriend been together? Just curious.
11 months.
11 months. How does he value you? Did he answer that question?
She already told us.
Y'all get married.
He values me a lot. Like I
get married, or
my
he's
man value me because we only knew each other for 2 months. Like knew of each other on this earth for 2 months, and we used to talk after work because we had the same job. I was bartending for fun because I told you I always worked with kids my whole life. So I wanted to do something that made me feel grown up, and I thought bartending. So anyway, so I met him at work, and we knew each other for 2 months. We would talk after work all the time. He would always help me with my end of the day duties, and I would help him. Like if he had any bar back stuff to do, I would help him because I'm not.
He's a bar back.
No, he was a security guard, but he would help do bar back stuff. Anyway.
Stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what bar backs be doing. They be like restocking.
I don't know what bar back stuff. What's bar back stuff? Let's talk about it,
fellas. Real quick, don't date no girl who work at a bar or a club at all. Like,
what?
We know that
because look,
we know that
they're gonna end up fucking with somebody in there.
Yeah, they're gonna end up talking after work and doing end of the day stuff,
helping them with bar back stuff. She said bar back. Right?
The only reason why we started dating was because my boss was telling. First, my boss told all the men, "Don't be trying to date the woman and stuff like that." That was like his big disclosure. But then my boss was like, "You're single. He's single. He's a good guy. You're a really good girl. Y'all should try to be together. Like you should like talk to him, like say something to him." And so that's exactly what I did. And I was like, "Hey, you know, we talk after work all the time." I'm like, "And you know, you should ask me out." And that's how that went. And so then he wound up asking me out. We had so much fun. Like we were laughing, we were slobbing, we were being so competitive. He wound up beating me. We were like playing bowling and stuff.
No, you know what's crazy?
You didn't have fun with homeboy from college? Y'all ain't had no fun?
No, I didn't. It was always like dinner dates. But with the guy I'm talking to right now, it's always been activities. So we actually built memories together. And like we can say, "Oh, you remember when we did this?" And we got like our little own private jokes and stuff now. Like it's hilarious. So after pretty much we've been together ever since we took that date.
Did you make him wait 90 days to be physical?
Homeboy, he's still waiting, but But
I was
what
trying to ask that without asking, so that's how I, see what I did there.
So
what I
hold
like.
on. So quick question: did you ask him the same question after 5 weeks?
I didn't have to, because after our first date, so we met, like we started dating in
You say he was in love
October.
first date.
Come November, I actually told him I loved him by the end of November. Come November, he introduced me to his pastor. I met his mom. I met he don't know his father.
Jesus, I can't believe it, Jesus.
Oh, she froze.
Let me go and get to these super chats.
Well, listen,
$10.
listen, your
Yon.
situation sounds beautiful, and I'm happy for you. I hope it goes well.
Wolf 313 also
Genuinely.
around $5 says amazing. Women refer to men as clowns, yet they wear makeup. Women also don't believe a woman's deceit is far worse than a lie. Months again, $2. Men propose because women want us clout. Money again, $5 says most women want marriage. Men most of the time could care less. We want family. Women want marriage. Money again, $5 says no true. Women are places. They want more, but don't want to push you away. The King, Investor 499. The real question is for the ladies. Give an example of a man leading a woman to hell. This shall expose a lot. Mine again, $2 says, get your nigga Janssen. Insane one, remember for 11 months. If the man doesn't want to marry and the woman does, move on. Here's a pro tip. Have 0 kids until you marry, increase your odds of success. Mont, $5 says the women understand perspective more than fellas here. You cannot be a good leader nor a teacher if you don't listen. Mont again, $5 says interruptions are a part of the game, like having fighting as a wide receiver.
That's all.
Did you mean wide receiver with that?
Yeah, it's like hand fighting as a wide receiver. It's just a part of,
When it happens, you let them know that they are doing it and they will stop. Striking it rich, the 499 foreign currency. We really need to be talking to the younger women as they are the future. These old women are fully set in their ways. There is no fertile ground here. Naomi, also a member, gifted one Lapeef membership. Thank you, Miss Naomi. And saying one also member $2 says women sermons but won't follow biblical directions. 313 also member $5. How much truth can come from someone wearing wigs, weave, fake eyes, baby hair, lashes, and body parts? You can't. Oh yeah, a man can't believe. Lastly, you can name business and development. So you change that name there. $2. At Kiki, you're supposed to marry older men, not young.
Dirty Mackie.
Everybody that has contributed to the platform. Y'all enjoy y'all weekend. People on the panel stay